Welcome to tonight's episode of the ZodWriter Show. And for those of you that don't know me and may be tuning in for the first time, I am ZodWriter, and with me, as always, is my co-host Johnny Alpha. And we have a very special show today. We're going to be basically debating the validity of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And to do that, we have a very special guest, Ashley the Widow. She is joining us tonight, along with my good friend Eddie. Oh my Diaz, what's up, man? And of course, that one Carlos, who is also another co-host of the ZodWriter Show, is joining here tonight. So we're supposed to have a full lineup of people because we have a team DC, we have a team Marvel, and then we have some wild cards here. And I love how Eddie is, I labeled Eddie as a wild card because Eddie tends to have some very unique perspectives when it comes to these kinds of topics. And he's wearing his Zack Snyder's Justice League t-shirt today. So that pretty much shows you what side of the fence he's going to lean on today. Although he did call me a Marvel hater on Twitter, so I don't know.
You are a Marvel hater.
Eddie can go either way.
Eddie's an instigator.
And we definitely so before we get started on all that, I want to take a look and see who's all in here in the chat. We have Anthony, and Anthony is awesome. He pops up on a lot of people's streams. He's a good dude. What's up, Anthony? And we have Belle Reeve here, who's saying, "Hey Zod, I'm gonna be a little late, but I'll still be here around 6:45 ish." Okay, so that's pretty much what I was expecting.
That's when we should need That's when we need the ambulances called. So that's good timing. Yeah, she'll be able to get the bodies cleaned up for us after this thing breaks open.
That should be a lot of fun. And then we have Ryan Rivera here. I don't know what's happening, but I'm excited for a showdown of any kind. So it should be fun, Ryan. You're definitely going to enjoy this. I mean, I had one conversation with Ashley about the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and it didn't go very well. So I'm assuming this is going to be a fun show tonight. And Oh My Diaz says I'm the best, and Eddie has a unique perspective here. So I'm very, very happy that you've decided to join us today. RJ is supposed to be joining us tonight too, because he's definitely Team Marvel.
Show.
Yes. Snyder Steppenwolf. What's up, y'all? Okay, Snyder Steppenwolf replies again. I'll be right back.
You better hurry.
And that one, Carlos, says that his link was acting up. That was before.
That was a minute ago.
We sent you I sent you that link because you're here. That one, Carlos, says, "What's up, everyone?"
Yo, what's up?
And Lord Koj is supposed to be joining us tonight as well. And Carlos says, "Good vibes." Boom. Yeah, Carlos, you're making up for 50% of the chat here. we've got Steven who says, "What's up? Be right back." A lot of people are going to get their drinks and get their popcorn because they know that when Ashley is on a live stream, it's about to get lit. They already know. So that's why they're like, "I'll be right back." No, notice how everybody keeps saying, "I'll be right back. I'll be right back." Yeah, because they know it's going to get crazy. Okay, and we got Bradley here. He says, "What's up, y'all?" What's up, Bradley? Good to see you here. Oh My Diaz says, "Don't mention Spider-Man." Well, I intend to mention Spider-Man in relation to Marvel today.
You'll find out why later.
I've got a Spider-Man that I don't think any of you guys here on this panel have ever watched before. This is a Spider-Man from Japan. This is Toy Japan Spider-Man, and this is from 1978. This is the Spider-Man that Marvel should be getting more credit for because it's very high quality work, and I believe that the Japanese Spider-Man should be a part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But that's just my opinion. And we have let's see who else we have here. We got Sickness. What's up, Sickness? Good to see you, bro. All right, we got Deadpool GG 2.0 saying what's up. Arkham Gaming. Hey, what's up, Arkham? I know you're looking forward to that Robert Pattinson Patty Cake Batman movie. You're looking forward to that, right? We got 187, and let's see. Neil got me thinking his stream was starting today at 6:30, but it's tomorrow at 6:30. I just wasted my time waiting. I don't know what's up with Neil. Neil was supposed to. Neil was actually supposed to jump on one of these streams with us not too long ago, and he didn't show up. So I don't know what happened with Neil. Neil's kind of unreliable, if you ask me. Let's see here. Lucas, what's up, Zod? What's up, Lucas? And Belle Reeve says, damn, panel already up. Yes, we already have a panel, but we don't have everybody, Belle. So I need you because you're Team DC, because I don't know about the people that we have here. I mean, I have a feeling that the majority of them are going to lean Marvel at this point. We've got Reese. Hello there. Okay, and Belle says, all right, I guess I'm going to get protein shake and just hop on when I get home. Yeah, definitely get that protein shake, Belle. Wow. Okay. Well, we will see you soon. And Anthony. And then that one, Carlos, saying stay safe. I don't know who you're talking to, Carlos.
No, I'm talking to Belle.
Yeah. Belle. Of course they are. Oh, Team DC. Yes, Team DC. So
we all know what's the best team. Team Wild Card.
We got Ashley here. So it seems like it's going to end up being me versus Ashley mainly, and then we're gonna have the rest of the panel kind of try and see, kind of gauge things and see where they are, especially you, Eddie, because I really want to see where you're gonna end up leading with your giant, with your Zack Snyder's Justice League t-shirt and your Marvel avatar. That's really that's typical Eddie. I'm actually surprised you didn't wear the Brie Larson t-shirt tonight, but that's just a surprise, on my end. So I guess I want to begin. I want to go movie by movie with Marvel and DC. I basically want to mention each movie, and then Ashley, you and I will briefly kind of go back and forth about how we feel about each movie. And in the tradition of what you're usually used to, how you grade movies, you kind of do with swag, you kind of go back and forth with movies and you do movie grades. I think for this particular show, I think we should do the same thing where we kind of grade the movies, because I definitely want to give out F minuses. So it's important that
we do it out of 10.
Use that grade scale. But we could do grade scales this time.
Okay, gotcha.
I think that'll be fun, because that'll definitely, put the audience in a in a letter frame of mind here. So, Ashley. So I think to begin, we'll start with the first Iron Man movie, since that movie was basically, for lack of a better way of saying it, the beginning of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And so I want to get, I want to get your brief thoughts on Iron Man, Ashley, and then I'll give my thoughts on Iron Man, and we'll kind of go see where that goes. See if we agree, see if we disagree. Okay, Ashley, go ahead.
I will start with saying that I had in my childhood, I started reading these comics, Marvel comics, when I was 6 years old. I was introduced to Iron Man at the age of 8, fell in love with this character, fell in love with the Avengers. And so in 2008, when this movie came out, and I could not believe that I'm about to see Iron Man on the screen. He's a B-level character. He's not considered a mainstream character that is normalized and that everybody knows. Went to the theater, literally cried. When he came out of that cave, I was literally in tears in that moment. It was very relatable how they brought things in from the Iraq War, and And when Tony is in those moments in that film, when he's talking about how he used to, deal in weapons of mass destruction, and how there's nothing else. There's only this from today moving forward. That began that arc of Tony Stark that we see throughout the MCU. And for me, Iron Man is a good movie. The rewatchability for me is high. If I'm going to grade Iron Man, it's a B+ for me.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna go with you there and say that's a fair rating for Iron Man. I actually have a hard time disagreeing with you there. I think everything you said about the first Iron Man is pretty much on point. There was a lot of great scenes in there, a lot of magical moments, the various Iron Man suits that we got to see. And it was nice to see a B-level character like Tony Stark finally get his due on the big screen. And Robert Downey Jr. definitely nails the character from an actor perspective. So you gave it a B+. Mm-hmm. I will go one step higher than that, and I will give the original Iron Man movie a solid A.
Yeah.
I think Iron Man was a good start to the MCU. It was one of the few MCU movies that I really, really enjoyed, and I was glad that I got the opportunity to see it in movie theaters. So I think so. There's really no debate.
No.
We both pretty much enjoyed Iron Man. So I guess we'll go now to the rest of the panel here. We're going to start with you, Eddie, since you are the most quiet person on the panel. I want to get your opinion. What do you think of the first Iron Man movie?
Well, when it comes to the first Iron Man movie, and look, when it comes to Iron Man in general, I knew who he was because they had lots of cartoons back then in the early 2000s, so I knew who he was. I know that he was like a B-level character, but I never thought we'd see an Iron Man movie in live action. And obviously, what resorted and obviously the universe expanded after that movie. But like I said, it was good, lots of good action. The humor was on par. I get it that when it comes to Marvel movies later on, that's when they focus more on the humor. But I think the quality of humor there was good, and like I'm saying, it had lots of good moments. Robert Downey Jr. His performance is great, and that's when people weren't really sure if they should, because they never even wanted him in the movie in the first place because of his past history. So that was his first shot at redemption, and he played it well. The movie was excellent, and I just to shorten it right now, I give it a solid A. I love Iron Man.
Yeah, I have to give it a solid A. The first film, I mean, it was a great way to start off the cinematic universe. So I can't really argue with it. And of course, that was before Disney took everything over, and it was essentially more of a Paramount. Paramount was involved, weren't they? And there was some other investors involved as well. Carlos, your view on the very first Iron Man movie?
Yeah, I think I'd have to give it an A too. Like on its own, it wasn't the intent when they made it was to make a good film. It wasn't really to establish a universe, even though it kind of secondarily did that. But then they caught on, and then like they built on from there, and I really loved it. I do think it kind of set a precedent, of having the mirror of the hero be the villain. So the villain is literally just the hero's powers, just it like kind of like a gray, kind of twisted version of it. You know what I mean? Like, because we see that with we kind of see that with Red Skull. It is also because he's like a mutant kind of with soldier serum. Then we see that with like Ant-Man. Also, I guess Ultron could kind of be considered one. Anyway, when it first came out, I don't really remember that because I was literally like 7 years old. But I'd have to say it's an A2. The CGI really holds up. the character arc in that entire movie for Tony was really great, going from like being over self-confident and then going down to the lowest of lows into the cave and then emerging like a new person and wanting to change his company after that, and then basically went to the point of sacrificing himself willingly. It's really nice.
Okay. All right. Well, that's cool. And, Johnny Alpha, what's your view on the first Iron Man film?
I gotta pretty much agree with everybody else. I mean, much like Ashley, I grew up reading the character mostly in Avengers. I never particularly liked him. I disliked Tony Stark to the core until I actually saw Robert Downey Jr.'s take on him. He humanized him, and he actually made him something likable. And I was pretty blown away because I knew that like they would eventually get to characters like Iron Man, but I didn't ever think that Iron Man would be the first Marvel movie that was actually an all-around just excellent film. Because we had Daredevil, we had Ghost Rider, they were all messes, but like Iron Man came out and it was just like the best. So it was a little bit of a surprise for me as not a big fan. And yeah, it's a solid 8 out of 10 for me, man. Like just really, really.
So you would
good
say,
time.
so you would
It's
say,
my top
A,
five
so you'd say
Marvel
A or a B, A or a B, because we're doing the letter
yeah,
grade.
since I said 8 out of 10, that's a B, man. So
all right,
yeah,
B. All right, bro. Okay, so we can agree. We can all agree. The whole panel agrees generally that the first Iron Man movie was a solid film. So we'll put that in the positive column for the MCU for tonight.
I'd like to add something if you don't
Absolutely.
mind. Just in response to where he's talking about Obadiah Stane. Obadiah Stane is the reason why I give the movie a B+. He was good, but effectively I felt that when we talk about who is a better mirror of a villain for Tony Stark and Robert Downey Jr., it's Justin Hammer.
Yep.
I know I will get to Iron Man 2, but to me, after seeing Iron Man 2 and seeing those parallels between Justin Hammer and Tony Stark, it brings that film down to a B+ for me. So I agree that he does mirror him quite well, but it's also, same suit, same power. And I feel that in the second film, we get a better version of that. So I just wanted to make that point.
Okay. Well, we can do that. So now, because we did the first movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, now we jump over to the first movie in the DCEU, which is the DC Extended Universe. And the first film in the DC Extended Universe is Man of Steel. So
it was supposed to be Green Lantern.
With Man of Steel, yeah. So with Man of Steel being the first in the DCEU, we will go right over. We'll start with me since I'm the DC guy. I will begin with my view on that, and I give Man of Steel a solid A+. I absolutely love Man of Steel. I think it brings Superman into the modern era in a very unique and interesting way, and it covers a lot of ground. Zack Snyder took a lot of great things from the comic books and brought them into the DCEU in a way that we weren't expecting. The opening Kryptonian sequences on Krypton are some of the greatest Superman lore and mythology I think we've ever seen put to film. Not to mention the fact that Superman is brought into our crappy world. So the character of Superman isn't changed at all, really, from the comic books. It's the world, the environment that this Superman is put into that makes Superman have to deal with things the way that he does in this movie. And honestly, to me, Man of Steel is one of the greatest Superman films, if not the greatest Superman film of all time. So for me, a solid A+. Those who watch this show and know me know how I feel about Man of Steel. So we're just going to move over to Ashley now and get her view on Man of Steel.
Well, Man of Steel to me is a good movie. It's not a great movie, I have issues with that movie. I don't really like Jonathan Kent in that movie. I don't like the penis freaking ships. I think that they look ridiculous. I don't like
The ships are
overall
comic
great-
book accurate, though.
They look like, well, and I don't really care. But for me, also, Superman is also not my guy. Like, I'm not big on Superman. But I did appreciate this take on Superman. But there were things in the movie I didn't like when he, snapped Zod's neck. I gasped. I was taken back by that moment. But I didn't. My biggest issue with this movie was Jonathan Kent. I did not buy that Jonathan Kent would basically have him question whether he should save people's lives at all. And then I also think it's silly when, he's waving him off and telling him not to save his life. I didn't like that. And then I didn't like the overall gray cinematography tones that was throughout the film. But as a film, when I think about it outside of what I think of who Superman is, to me, it's a B+ movie. But when I'm looking at it of what I believe Superman should be, it's a B-. So it's not really that far off. It's a good film. When in the DCU, it's the number one film in my rankings, but it's just not that solid.
Wow.
That 10 out of 10 movie for me.
A lot of people, I think of the problem with Jonathan Kent is a lot of the stuff that a lot of the gripes that people have with Jonathan Kent are because they're missing the whole point. Jonathan Kent, when he is telling Kal-El not to use his powers, and he's giving examples about how maybe you should have thought about this, maybe. And when, like, the scene where Clark says, what was I supposed to do, just let them die, and Jonathan Kent says maybe. The things that you have to remember about Jonathan Kent is that he is protecting his son. First and foremost, he's being a human father. That's what he's thinking about. He's not thinking about, in that moment, he's not thinking about the greater implications of Superman, but he is in the back of his mind, because at the moment that you brought up, Ashley, where he didn't want Superman to save him when the tornado hit, he didn't think that the world was ready to see Superman. And that's the thing that I think a lot of people miss. People don't realize, again, he's thinking about his son. He's not thinking about the world as, in the way that, you would think, well, yeah, he's a Superman. He has all these powers. He has all these things. But again, he's thinking of Clark as he would his real son. He's thinking of Clark in a way that, like, I don't want my child, this, and this, because he doesn't know everything that Clark can do yet. He doesn't fully grasp everything. So I think a lot of it is him just being a loving parent and thinking about his son before everybody else. And I think that's where, the misunderstanding kind of goes in about, well, Clark, Jonathan Kent is horrible because he wants Clark to just let those kids in the bus die, or he's not thinking about everything else. I think it's just like a fatherly kind of instinctual kind of a thing. Because personally, and I will say a little bit about my background, which is one of the reasons why this version of Superman resonates so strongly with me. I was adopted at a very young age. I never knew my real parents. I never knew where I came from or what my real background actually was. And my adopted parents, raised me like their own son. They never made me feel at any point like I was not, their natural born son. They always treated me like I belonged, and I never felt like I wasn't their son at no point in my life. And a lot of the stuff, that Clark was talking about, where he, when he finally gets the talk from Jonathan about where he actually comes from and what he actually is, and that the scene that moved me to tears in Man of Steel was when Clark asks Jonathan and says straight up, "Can I just keep pretending that I'm your son?" And Jonathan Kent looks at him and says, you are my son, before he hugs him. And that scene for me resonated more than anything else. Because again, as I said, I've never in my life felt like I wasn't, a real, that I wasn't my parents' real son. I never in my life felt that way. So for him, it just goes to show you the way that Jonathan Kent treated him. Jonathan Kent treated him like that was his real son. He never once treated him any differently than he would if him and Martha had a natural born son. He looked at Clark like his son his entire life. And that to me was a beautiful moment. And that actually made a lot of the other things make a whole lot of sense. Because if you think that's your real son, you're going to protect your real son more than anybody. You're going to make sure that your child is protected and cared for and feels loved no matter what happens. And that's one of the things about that movie. I absolutely love Jonathan and Martha Kent in that movie. I think they're the most human parents we've ever seen Superman have cinematically. I mean, they respond and speak normal, like how everyday parents who really love their children would be. So I guess that's really where I sit when it comes to that. And that's why it impacts me on the level that it does in terms of Jonathan Kent. But unless you have a rebuttal for that.
Yeah, I do.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
I do. And my rebuttal as a mother and as a parent, if I know that my child is destined for greatness, I'm going to make sure that my child exceeds in that greatness. Okay. Because I understand protecting your kids. I've got 2 boys of my own, but I understand also as a parent that if your child has this ability to affect the world in the most positive way, as a parent, I'm going to push my child to do that. Because I feel that is his duty, and that's what he needs to do because he's Superman. He has these extraordinary abilities. I understand, and I'm glad that you were able to connect with the movie, and thank you for sharing that story. And I can understand that connection that you have. But for me as a parent, I'm going to push my kids if they have these abilities, and I'm going to help them and motivate them to make those choices. If they can affect the world in a positive and a real way, they need to do so because I am their parent. And my job is to make sure that my children always reach that level of greatness that they can attain. And if my son is Clark Kent, I'm going to push him to accept that and own it, and to understand and be confident in the ability that he can save people. And I know that my son and believe in my child. That's how I see it right there as a parent on the other end of it.
But at no point does Jonathan Kent make it seem like...
But he also questions. He always says, should you do these things? The world, I also would not tell my child that the world is not ready. They won't understand you. Some of these...
But it's true, though. The world wasn't ready for him.
What would have happened if you would have revealed himself?
So obviously they were ready, right? When he finally revealed himself? What's the difference?
I still don't think they were ready. I think what it is with Jonathan Kent, again, I don't think at no point he wasn't trying to motivate his son. He was motivating his son, but he was also allowing his son to think and make these decisions.
But explain to me how he wasn't ready for the first half of the movie, right? He wasn't ready. And all of a sudden, he's ready, and the world is willing to accept him all of a sudden. Tell me what
I don't know. The world really didn't accept him. The world didn't accept him.
He didn't have a real choice, though.
Why does it matter if he would have saved his father in that moment, or even the question of him saving those kids on that bus? If they were never ready, he should have. I mean, that's what I'm saying. It doesn't make sense. He still eventually does it, and there's no signs that the world isn't ready. So he could have done it at any given moment. That's what I'm saying.
As a child, though?
That's a plot hole. That is a plot hole.
As a child,
it's he would have been a plot hole, though. But like when he finally does reveal himself, there's a world-threatening event. There's actually other Kryptonians that are going to re-terraform the Earth and rip it to shreds. He's the only person that could have literally stopped that. Whereas technically, I guess the kids in the bus could have. There's a semantical thing maybe to it, but that's the catalyst that they want to have. But there was actually
the kids government would have been after him. He never would have had a real
No. But here's the thing. If he would have revealed himself, he would have been He would have been captured by the government, and he would have been dissected.
Well, he wouldn't have been captured by how? Yeah, exactly.
He barely knew how to use his powers. You didn't see that scene when he was struggling.
At the time, he didn't know how to use his powers.
He didn't know how to use them.
How would he have been captured?
Well, yeah, he doesn't know how to not be bulletproof.
He's still stronger than them. He's still faster than them. He's still going to escape.
Child. Where would he go? He'll be scared for the rest of his life.
He would have escaped. He saved the kids on the bus. He still saved the little boy. Was he found out? Was he captured? Was he dissected?
That time, but that's the scene that Jonathan tells him.
That's the scene where
you weren't caught this time, but imagine the next
time.
And then there's no next time. We don't get a next time. Except when he waves him off and says, "Don't save my life." And by this time, he's older and his powers have grown exponentially at this point. So he would have not been caught in that moment if he would have saved his father, is what I'm saying. Well, by the time that he was ready to possibly do it again, he was older, he was more mature, he was stronger, he understood his power set. So the fact that he does not do anything in that moment, to me, makes absolutely no sense. I can get the point that you're making when he's a child. And maybe he's not completely fully formed in his abilities, and he doesn't understand his power set. But by that time, when he's there on that freeway, he completely understands and is growing into that power set. He's a young man at this point. He knows what he's capable of at this point. He could have saved his father, and everybody else would have been oblivious to the fact that he did that. That's the only point that I'm making here. Okay. And then always setting your child up for greatness, never having them second guess who they are.
Well, right? That's the point.
I'm sorry, I tell my children.
When we get to BBS, he'll see the decision if he actually wants to do it or not. We'll get to BBS.
I tell my children, you always do what's right, regardless of what the world thinks. And that is something, as a parent, you should say to your child, you have this ability. Mm-hmm. You're able to do this. Maybe in that moment, protect your identity, so nobody can discover who you are. But don't have him question whether he should be out here saving people's lives. That's the only point that I make.
That's the point, though. They want him to choose if you want to have a normal life or do the things you were destined to do. That's how it is.
But if your child is destined for
greatness,
that's
his choice, though. That's not ours. That's not the parents' choice. That's not the parents' choice.
But if your child is destined and has these powers and these abilities, and he can affect the world in a positive way, your job as a parent is to motivate them, to give them the confidence and the abilities and the know-how that they can achieve these things. That's what I'm saying. When you're making an argument about a parent on the other side, I'm making the argument on the other side.
I get that, but you can motivate them all you want, but it's still their decision or not if they want to do it.
Yeah, it ultimately would be up to him, but having him second guess whether he should do this.
And we see that in BBS.
It's a wrong choice from Jonathan Kent. That's the point that I'm making. Whether we see something different in BVS, the point that I'm making is in Man of Steel, in the context of this film, it's not the right choice.
Jonathan Kent rebuts you himself, Ashley, when he says you're going to have to decide what kind of man you want to be, Clark, because good or bad, that man is going to change the world. That line alone pretty much, kind of rebuts you, because Jonathan Kent is basically explaining right there why he's the way he is by telling Clark how it is and what's out there, and giving him putting it in his mind. You're going to have to decide for yourself. And that it's just like what Eddie was saying. Ultimately, he has to decide.
No, but he made the decision for him.
He didn't make the decision for him because he saved those kids. He saved those kids.
I'm not talking about that moment. I'm talking about the moment when he's on the freeway.
He tells
him, "Let me go."
He respected his father's wishes. That's what it was. But I think a lot of people miss out on that scene.
I understand that. It's not that I don't get it. It's just that I don't buy it and I don't like the choice. Okay, it's not that I don't get these things that are happening.
That's okay. That's okay. I guess if you don't.
I don't. It's not that I don't get it. It's that I don't buy it, and I think it's a bad choice.
You don't buy it in what way? If your father here's the thing. Think of it this way, though. If Superman he knows how his father is viewing this and knows what his father's beliefs are when it comes to this. So in that instance where he could have saved his father, he essentially honored his father's beliefs by allowing him to die. He may not have agreed with his dad. He may not have thought that his dad was right in that instance, but his father wanted him not to reveal himself.
Why? He would have not been revealed at that point, is what I'm saying to you. Nobody would have seen him do that. He would not have been discovered.
He can run faster than the Flash, so he could have probably.
At that point, he was a teen. At that point, he was a teen. He didn't practice his flight. There's no training montage. Him running through cornfields.
He didn't have to
he could have saved him, but there was a high likelihood with all those witnesses in the highway. You don't know who's tight-lipped and who's not. They're gonna know someone from this general area is unlike anything before. And I wanted to say, at least for me, I really like Man of Steel. I do give it an A as well. But it's from a large part of this was from a sci-fi perspective, and looking at Clark, because I really like this passionate conversation. But also, we need to keep in mind that Superman is not of this world, and it's more apparent than ever. You know what I mean? Because how they explain it in the movie, just like Jonathan said, he is the answer to "Are we alone in the universe?" These questions have never been answered before this movie. People don't remember Wonder Woman. People don't know Wonder Woman. People don't know the Greek gods. People don't know any other prior alien or Martian or anything. This is it. This is the first ever contact with an alien species, and all that responsibility is put onto a average Joe in the middle of Kansas, and now he's raising it. You know what I mean? So, and they were trying for kids, but they never had any kids. And now the first kid they have is literally going to either be the destroyer of the world or the savior of the world, because no matter what he does, he's going to change the world dramatically. You know what I mean? And this is something with the MCU, since we're still in the universe, we're not just on one thing, but with the MCU, they never address the kind of impact that these aliens and godly beings would have on the human population and the human psyche. Because I would expect if Thor
no, that's not true. We see the effects of what happens with Iron Man after the wormhole in space is open in Avengers. We see the devastation of. We see lots of effects of what these aliens have.
Yeah, I don't mean destruction or anything like that. I mean the
emotional impact as well.
The public.
To me, at least in this would be in more of the later movies, but I still didn't see it addressed in the earlier movies. When the people say, "Oh yeah, I'm Thor. I'm literally from Asgard," people are not literally bowing before him. Oh wow, the Norse religion. Maybe I should become an Odinist. Maybe I should become maybe I should worship Thor because he's literally a freaking god. You know what I mean? Maybe those people back in old ancient Norse times were right. So they don't do that. They have somebody on the side of the street who knows Thor and he's just a cool dude, and they know where his girlfriend Jane. And two people in Thor Ragnarok are coming up. Hey, can I take a selfie, please? Oh yeah,
because he's seen as a hero at that point. He's was in the Battle of New York. He's considered a celebrity.
Well, I'd argue too, it's a difference of tone and the goal that they're going for.
Superman. Look at all the stuff he did, and he had a bunch of hate groups. You can see that in BBS.
Yeah, people did not like him. That's the story that they were. Because that's the story, the route.
That was more realistic.
I think that's.
But the canon, unfortunately, and I know I don't like Justice League, but the canon Justice League, he's signing freaking autographs. So don't give me that stuff, Eddie, right now. I'm talking about.
I said he still had the hate groups. I said people still didn't like him. The government wasn't sure of him. Not with the Avengers. Nobody cared. They just let him do whatever they want. Superman had a scene where he had to go to. He had to go to court, and then people were shaming him on the stuff he was doing. While people,
what are you talking about, Eddie?
And the second thing I was gonna say was on the fact of whether the world was ready.
I don't like Justice League. I just said I don't like it. I'm talking about what is canon. Snyder Steppenwolf. I freaking hate that movie. Okay, so don't say that I like a movie that I don't like. I just said I don't like the movie. If I'm making a point, I'm making a point. That doesn't mean I like it.
Yeah, the second thing I was gonna bring up was just like based on like whether the world was ready. I don't think the world would ever be ready for that big of a shakeup to, our moral, our religious, our kind of thought of like, are we alone in the universe? Are we the center of the universe? Everything revolves around us. Well, no, because we're not that special, because there's people even more special, many light years away on a planet called Krypton. You know what I mean? So
in the world of WB, I love your comment here. It is canon. Okay. Which film, when you look it up on Google, is still there. That is the canon film. I wish Zack Snyder's Justice League was, but it's not. I'm talking about what exists in this universe as is, regardless of opinions of what we think about the movie. Okay. Mm-hmm. I'm being real here. That is the canon story within the arc of the DCEU. That's it. Whether a director makes a choice when it comes to the overall arching themes of the DCEU, and this is part of the freaking problem with them, this movie is canon. This Frankenstein movie is canon.
I'm just saying, it doesn't matter. It was little kids signing autographs. I'm pretty sure little kids aren't gonna have those type of opinions on him.
And Thor is talking.
Okay, but I'm saying, do you see Thor with hate groups? Do you see Thor with hate groups?
When Superman dies, everyone is mourning his death
because he sacrificed himself. Because people didn't know what position he was. That proved it. That he was on the side of mankind.
That's his arc. They didn't like him and they like him. They moved past it. You can't say that this is the point and not look at the other side. Yes, at one point, due to propaganda, people were hating him and sending him letters. But by the end of the story, he is exonerated, right? And he is revered as a hero. So therefore, at the end, he's immortalized.
Just saying. Thor can save the world and he'll get autographs and all that. He saved the world and a bunch of hate groups and people just questioning him. I'm just saying.
Yes, but by the end, he is immortalized, is what I'm saying, Eddie. Yes, this is his part. Yes, but they knew why he died, right?
Yeah, because he proved himself.
Just like Tony was in Endgame for his sacrifice, for what he did. He was no longer hated. Right? There was propaganda that was put out there against him. And then everybody saw the truth. They saw that he was a good man, that he was a hero, that he was willing to lay his life down for the greater good. And in the end, he was loved and revered because that is who Superman is. And in that world, he still was loved and revered, even though for a span of time, people were questioning who he was. So when you're making the point about Thor, it's a moot point because he was immortalized in this movie at the end of the day.
I'm just saying Thor didn't have to die for what happened.
But I think it worked up to it, and I think that the way that Man of Steel and BVS worked up to that kind of exoneration and that kind of immortalization of Superman and his image as like the Earth's protector was done way more efficiently in the case of like a cinematic universe perspective and like a film making perspective was done much better than going from Thor and Thor 1 to say, I guess Infinity War of making him to be the hero of Earth. A hero of Earth.
Can we go back to Man of Steel for a second and just talk about how badass Feora was? I mean, nobody ever brings her up. She is definitely like one of the coolest things in the DCEU. She kicked mad asses. I wish her fight was a little longer. They should put out a Snyder Cut of MOS, man, with a longer Feora fight. I want to see it.
I'm sorry, I'm country. I'm from Kentucky. And when I say things, it comes out differently. I said the way I said it, and it might sound like mute. I'm from Kentucky, Eeyore. If you got a problem, you can suck it. I'm sorry. I don't care.
Yeah. Calm down with that bullshit. What the hell? We're just having.
I just want to say hello. I just got here. Just been listening to this. This has been fascinating already.
Yes.
Hi, RJ. What's up, buddy? It's been a minute, man. How you doing?
What's up, man? I'm doing good. Good
to see you again, kid. Right on.
Yeah.
How do you feel about Man of Steel? Honestly, man, let us know. Like, what do you rate the film? Kind of like let's calm this down a little bit. Like, how do you feel about Man of Steel, RJ?
Well, it's interesting. The first time I saw it, I was kind of like, eh. And then, like, I rewatched it a few times. There's still some stuff that, I mean, I don't know. Like, I guess I'd rate it probably like a 7 to 8 out of 10. I think it's a good movie. I like it. Oh, shoot, Belle's here.
I can't hear you, Superman. Chill.
Yeah, I gotta say I'm exactly right there with you with it, man. It's a pretty solid little solo for a solo film. I mean, got a good fight at the end, and yeah, nice B plus I'd give it, or B minus.
I mean, I like the villain. I like Michael Shannon's performance. I like Feor, as you were mentioning. I mean, the Jonathan Kent stuff, I agree. Like, Zod's perspective on that was fascinating, and Ashley's was too, in terms of like relating it to both of your past histories. I thought that was really interesting because it's not an insight I've really seen before in regards to like analyzing that character. I mean, for me, like I've come to understand what they were going for with it. The death scene, I'm still a little iffy on because I really like the version where he dies of a heart attack of natural causes. It's something that Superman can't stop. You know, all the power in the world, and Superman cannot stop a heart attack. Like, to me, that's a little bit more powerful and like teaches Clark something in that moment. But I understand what that was going for too, I guess, you know? So I don't know. Like I said, if we talk about BBS, that'll probably be the
not yet. But what's your grade though?
I said 7 to 8 out of 10. 7 to 8 out of 10.
Like A, B, all that.
Yeah,
stuff.
he's giving it a B, pretty much a B.
Yeah, like a B plus.
Zod, I'm gonna make my shake real quick. I'll be right back. I need my shake.
Okay, well, make your shake, and when you come back, we'll get your take.
Let me get to my point then.
Go ahead, Eddie.
When it comes to me, I give Man of Steel a solid A. A. Yeah, A. I love Man of Steel so much. I love the theme. Oh my gosh, I love lots of stuff.
Eddie, just expose yourself as a DC shill, huh?
No, trust me. Later on, when we get to Marvel, you'll see. But yeah, I love how it was. Like, Zack Snyder really went for a more realistic, movie when it comes to Superman, because obviously he put in a lot of realism in there, and there's lots of parallels too to Jesus and all that stuff too. But like when it comes to Man of Steel, I love what they were going for, what Superman lived in the actual world, and all the stuff with him as a child had to figure out who he was, like because he really did feel like an alien because he was, and his parents giving him advice of how to live his life and what you should do, because obviously he was destined for great things with his actual parents. That we always get that motto, you'll be destined for great stuff. But when I saw that, like I'm saying, it resonated with me because I really felt for Clark that he really felt out of place. He didn't know what to do with himself. He just was trying to figure out if he should live a normal life or he should be Superman. And I'm saying when it comes to Superman in general, we never got any of that cool action scenes that we saw in Man of Steel with other past interpretations.
Yeah. I think the opening of Man of Steel is fantastic with Krypton. It's a great opening.
Oh god, yeah.
The thing about Krypton, people were complaining about that, saying that Krypton kind of, because we have like an already ideal image of Krypton, how it looked, in comics. In the movie, it looked a little bit different. I had no issues with it. When it comes to the dick ships, I actually never noticed that when I was a kid until I went back to it. But like I'm saying, I loved it. I know Man still has lots of controversy when it comes to the property damage that Superman did in the battle with Zod, and obviously Superman killing Zod by snapping his neck. I am one of these people that say, look, I don't like Superman doing stuff like that, but it's like he had no choice. He would have killed that family if he would have didn't do that. So there's that, but like I'm saying, overall it's a good movie. It has a great tone. It doesn't feel, none of that stuff in the movie feels out of place when it comes to the him as a child, him as more of a young adult, and then actually him trying to figure out where he wants to be, him being Superman. So I think I'm saying it's a A. I love the movie so much.
I think that like now we kind of I think we should compare it to be like how did each origin movie start off their respective universes. Like I haven't really thought about it too deeply, but on first kind of like instinct, I would say that Man of Steel started off their cinematic universe better, like in the kind of world building aspect than Iron Man did. I would say that. Just one. Well, if
you're talking about world building, I kind of see what you're talking about.
Can you repeat that? What did you say?
To like because we're still comparing the DCU and the MCU is like what origin movie, what number one movie, the first ever movie in their respective universes built up the world better than the other. I'd say the Man of Steel built up the world better with
No.
the extended mythology in Krypton, as well as the final fight being kind of like the driving force for the rise of heroes. In their world.
Here's the thing though. When you go back and watch that first Iron Man, you have to think about that was back in 2008. I mean, you have to go back to that moment in time with the end credit scene between Tony Stark and Nick Fury with Samuel L. Jackson. That was a mind-blowing event back then. Nobody knew. It's like, oh, they're sitting with the Avengers. Like, what the heck's going on? Then you have the Shield name drop with Coulson at the end. It's like, you know, there were hints towards the future, but I guess in terms of like, I guess you're saying like more in terms of like building a mythology to like expand upon in the future. I guess what you're trying to say. Like, I'm just trying to like, I mean, I think both of them started off the universe on a strong point. It's just they were made in such different times, you know, like Man of Steel was coming out post the Dark Knight trilogy and post Iron Man when the universes were starting to get built. So, I mean, I don't know. It's an interesting comparison, but yeah,
it could be a bit of an unfair question. Yeah,
I mean, they didn't have a deleted scene though in Iron Man where Nick Fury explains more about the world or something like that.
That's the post-credit scene.
Yeah, they filmed different versions of it.
They filmed it all together. The main part was just removed because they didn't have the rights to the X-Men at the time. So the world building was already. But when they went into Iron Man, the thought was if this film is successful, they will be building the universe. So that's why the end credit scene was there. That's why that film and Thor take place in the same week. So going back to who originally said that they were not trying to build a universe, yes, they were. It was just backed on is this film going to be successful with Iron Man?
Yes, because I know with Man of Steel, they had references to Lex Luthor, and obviously Superman destroyed a Wayne satellite and all that stuff too. So they're already getting ready for BVS and all that stuff.
But it's also like the history of Krypton, and like of course this is expanded more on BVS, but you see the destroyed moon, so there is ties to Doomsday previously being established, at least in that world. That there's a chance that he could come back and stuff like that. Or like the sentient AI, which is connected to Brainiac. So,
yeah.
Okay.
So now we have to ask Her DC Majesty Belle Reeve to give us her take on Man of Steel. Oh, you're muted. We'll get her take, and then we'll move on to Iron Man 2.
Sorry. Hey, what? Hold on. I'm sorry, my kids.
No problem.
Oh, good. No worries.
We're gonna have to run through 23 movies.
That's gonna be
it won't be. It won't be that. It won't be that.
It won't be.
It won't be that long.
I have another stream I have to be on at midnight. So.
Well, it won't be. I don't think it'll take us that long because the idea is that we're not going to have to debate every movie because some movies are better than others.
I know that we're.
But we can always do. But here's the thing, Ashley. We can always do. The thing is, Ashley, we can always do a part 2. We can always do a part 2 of this. It's not like it doesn't all have to. It doesn't all have to be settled tonight. That's the beauty of it. Okay.
I mean, it seems like I've been debating MCU for the past 2 weeks. That's all I've been doing. So but yeah.
You gotta blame Marvel for these catch grabs. That's all I can say.
Eddie, you're so cute. Thank you.
Thank you. I am.
If you have a point, then I'll respond. Though, other than instigating and trying to incite it, but you're so cute. I love it.
Thank you.
Belle's getting her shake that she can drop the hammer down.
About Man of Steel and how perfect it is? Yeah.
Okay. There you go.
My thoughts on Man of Steel. Okay, so like I get the issues that people have with it. Okay, it's different than a lot. First of all, it's different. Like I've said before about Zack Snyder, he basically made his own different genre of superhero films. Like it's nothing like any other universe. Like it's totally different. It's like comparing night and day. And of course, him.
I mean, there's only universe.
I like to say that his is night.
At that time.
Can you not interrupt me, please?
I just wanted to say
Okay, so it's like night and MCU's like day. I'm not gonna say anything about MCU right now because I'm talking about Man of Steel. But anyways, so okay, like Zod had said, this was Superman dropped into how the world is now with politics and religion. It's not 1970. It's not freaking, you know what I'm saying? It's not bright, freaking saving cats out of trees and shit. Saving cats out of trees and shit. You know what I'm saying? So it's a whole different take. And I think people miss that. And then they also compare it to other movies. And I don't think that's fair. This Superman was going through a journey. And we see that in BVS. We see a lot of that in BVS. So in Man of Steel, he's growing up. And I like to say that he almost kind of had like a disability because he couldn't relate to anybody. He didn't even realize he had powers until later on. And I don't know who said it before, but something about how he didn't, first of all, he didn't know how to fucking fly. You know what I mean? He didn't learn that shit till later on. So the whole thing with Jonathan Kent is that he was still young. What was he, like 16 or 17, Zod? In that scene?
I'd say late teens. I mean, Henry Cavill's a specimen. He's a specimen of man. He probably was 30 when he was 13. But yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, he's really young.
When you explain all that enough in the film.
Yeah, well,
before that, you saw the oil rig scene, and you could see him saving people.
But I'm saying, did they explain all of this, that he could not fly? Did they explain that enough overall in the film?
Well, it's obvious because we didn't see him do it.
Yeah, they didn't really have to
do it. That's an
he learned.
He
learned to fly in the first flight scene.
Though. That's how you can tell it. He couldn't because he didn't see him do it.
That's just someone you're inferring that.
There was a long period of time where he did not show it at all, though. That's the point.
His inability to fly in the film is what I'm asking.
With that oil rig scene, if he knew how to find all that stuff, he would have did it.
Yeah,
it's an inference.
With all those people,
exactly.
How old was he? When did they show us when he can fly in the movie? When he has that ability?
The first flight.
Where is that true explanation?
First flight
of him.
When he first puts on the suit and he flies.
Yeah, first flight.
Because with how Jonathan was teaching him, I don't like I was saying before, we didn't see any montages of him training or him,
the ability all of a sudden to fly.
Well, he was pushing his limits as told to him by his biological father.
Yeah.
He didn't know what he was doing, but he was trying. He was going to exert himself as much as he can now, especially because there's a ticking, clock that he needs to start being the person he wants to be. That both of his fathers saw that he could be.
I think my problem with a lot of the small things is that a lot of times when it comes to BVS, Man of Steel, it's a lot of people telling me things that have happened, but a lot of times they're not showing me these things in the film. But that's the only thing.
But kind of the important thing here, though, the whole time is we all rate this film really high. We actually all do, though. We all give it good grades. Yeah. I mean, honestly, so
but I don't know. It's not a perfect movie, and I'm just talking about the issues that I have with the film.
I don't think they mean perfect when they say perfect. They're just being fans. You know what I mean?
I'm not saying. I'm saying from me in a standpoint, if something, in my opinion, is not a 10 out of 10, that means I have issues with it. And if we're discussing the film, I'm going to bring up the issues that I have with it. Fair enough?
Yeah, that's fine. And there's no such thing as a perfect movie.
There are some movies that are quite close to perfect, and they're 10.
Maybe close,
they're
but not.
But they're not about superheroes. We're not going to be talking about any of them tonight.
No, we're not. But I'm saying they're very, very small complaints. When I think of those movies, they're very, very small nitpicks.
What do you want to say, Prime?
Oh, I'm just laughing at y'all on the certain things that y'all are saying. So I have to come in here and clarify.
What's up, Brian? First
a lot of stuff in here.
Are you talking about me?
No, I'm talking about everybody. Okay, y'all already know what I'm about to say. Who on here on the panel is into source material? Because y'all know I'm about to jog your brain.
Right here.
Who in here is on source material?
I read like a mofo. Yeah, man, I'm a reader.
Okay. So pertaining to Kal-El, So pertaining to Kal-El, all right, and a lot of people y'all talking about Man of Steel, and a lot of people that have problems with Man of Steel is that they proclaim that they know Superman, but they don't know Superman. Why? Because and that's fine. But you also have to remember, you have to also be into source material and know some of those things. Now, if you don't know the source material, that's fine. Now, a lot of that stuff that was brought forth to everybody that was in Man of Steel are strictly from comics. If people talk,
or are they canon stories?
Those are canon stories. When Krypton was made, when Nolan and Zach and Goyer, when they wrote the story, well, pretty much Goyer, okay, when they wrote the story, they got Krypton from Man of Steel. Read the book. That's exactly from actually Man of Steel, from the actual book.
So it's a canon story.
Yes, yes, okay. From that world. Now, Kal-El being presented in the way that he is, there's elements from different type of books and different variations on how Superman has been presented. I'm not going to call him Superman. I'm just going to call him Kal-El. See, a lot of people just going to call him Clark Kent. His name is Kal-El. Yeah. So people have to fail to realize is that it's complete difference. All right. So being set, and the thing that people want to understanding is that these stories are set in a real world setting with the mythos of the character put in this reality. What will we actually like if these situations and things actually happen in this life? That's why, and where to relate in this situation in life. So if you go back and you actually watch it, you will understand it and understand those. I
understand the story that they're trying to tell. What I'm saying is that I don't buy what I've read of Superman and what I know of. Some of these things I don't buy. Okay,
such as
I know Jonathan Kent. I don't believe that that's truly a version of Jonathan Kent that I've ever read or ever seen in my life. I don't.
There are 5 different This goes back to your answer because you're answering your own question. There are 5 different variations of Jonathan Kent. Resource material. What you're going by pop culture. You're going by one variation.
I'm going by what I know and what I've read. Yes.
Okay. So what you've read by that one variation of Pa Kent, you got to remember they've changed Pa Kent in a lot of ways. They changed that he died. They also changed that he lived and stayed with Martha while Kal grew up to being a full adult. So they have different variations of him. The one that everybody knows mainly is that Pa Kent dies. Now, how he dies is completely different. The pretty much one that everybody knows is that he dies of a heart attack. Okay. Now you can change they pretty much ran that course and they wanted to change it. So there's different ways on how you can make Pa Kent, how he dies, how it affects Kal and what he does in life. That's why I say, if you look at the movie as a whole, because a lot of people, they go by pop culture, they go by movies. Or they might go by animation.
That's what's presented to them. It's a film. At the end of the day,
when it's
a movie.
People do prefer different versions. That's the thing, too.
Right.
I know. I get that, Eddie.
Right. But what I'm saying is the average individual, when they watch, it's all right to watch a movie. The average individual, they do not read source material. They don't read books. They don't read comics. What they actually get their information from is that it's either they get it from animation or they actually get it from the actual movie. This interpretation in this version of Kal-El is strictly mainly more from the comics than you did from Christopher Reeve back in the 70s. Because if you go with the actual, there's concepts, but there's more of the actual comics and Man of Steel than you will ever find in the Christopher Reeve.
I don't like Christopher Reeve's Superman.
Okay.
I don't like those movies either. So I've not seen. I like Man of Steel more than I like that. I do not like Christopher Reeve Superman movies. I don't like Superman Returns. I don't like any of that shit.
Well, because that's absolutely fine. And movies are meant to be subjective, and that's cool. And you have to understand the reason why everybody loves the Christopher Reeve version back in 1979 was that comics were a very, very big deal in the golden and bronze age of comics. And when they took those versions and those iterations of those characters, when they was doing the cartoons and some of the shows, they took a little bit off of that and to introduce him in that movie. So, and that's what people are so beloved and what they cherish so much, you know, because again, people say they read comics and they don't. So that's when I hear people say they, you know, this is not about Superman. You say what?
I do read comics, just the comics that I read. Yeah, I'm not big on Superman. I've said it when we began. Superman is not my bag. Okay, but it's not. I don't relate to Superman. I don't necessarily like how he's presented a lot of time on the big screen. To me, Man of Steel is the best. That's what I'm saying. We're arguing some very little.
No. That's absolutely. I'm not arguing with you. I'm just bringing forth to you.
I'm just talking about debating. To me, Man of Steel is a B- movie. It's a B-. I was just speaking on the issues that I had with the film overall. Okay.
Oh no. I'm just saying
it's
in
not
general.
a bad movie. You know, it's a B-. Right.
Okay.
It's to me, it's the best DCEU movie, and still, when I rank all the DC movies, it still cracks in the top 10 when I'm ranking the movie. So to me, it's not a bad movie. I just had issues with the film. To me, Man of Steel was a good opening and jumping off point. It's some other things that I don't.
So I want to get so I can actually present. Just give me one thing that you have an issue in Man of Steel. Just give me your one issue, and I can actually explain a little bit better for you. What's one of your issues?
We've been through it though, but yeah.
Yeah, we unfortunately at this point we kind of.
She already discussed it. Don't worry about it. Don't
we kind of got to move. We kind of got to move on to Iron Man 2 at this point.
What's your rating of the film, though, Prime? Like, what's your grade, bro? What's your grade for Man of Steel, though?
Oh, Man of Steel? Oh, Man of Steel is an A+.
But Prime, do you remember talking
Bell,
to me?
what's your grade? I don't remember hearing you actually give a grade for it.
Yeah, you do.
A+++.
Cool. So
it's a perfect film, in my opinion, and everyone is.
And I respect everybody's opinion. I'm a debater, and I'm very passionate. I respect everybody's opinion to like whatever the fuck you want to like.
Even though Superman doesn't kill. Okay.
Yeah.
What?
Okay,
I didn't even bring. I just said that I didn't like.
Eddie's just
Don't get started, Eddie.
Killing people. So there's that. I said the moment when he snapped God's neck made me
switching
gasp.
up sides again.
Okay? So that's what I said. I'm not one of these people that's on the Superman doesn't kill train, because I haven't read enough Superman. I haven't read enough Superman to know if Superman kills. So that's not an argument or a point that I'm going to make.
Like triggering people.
All right, so with the fact that Eddie likes triggering people, we're going to move on to Iron Man 2, the next one in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This should be a quick.
No, it's not. It's not.
The black.
It's not.
We're skipping the black sheep of the MCU. The
I
Incredible
don't remember
Hulk.
shit about that movie.
No. We're not. It gets a bad rap. The Incredible Hulk is the best Hulk that was in the.
All right, do you want? All right, Ashley, do you want to talk about the Incredible Hulk, or do you want to move to Iron Man 2?
I'm going to talk about the Incredible Hulk.
Okay, I'm gonna briefly give my thoughts on Incredible Hulk, and then I'll go right to you, Ashley.
Mine's brief too.
For me, I want to say that I think there was a lot of behind the scenes drama with that movie. Edward Norton had some brilliant ideas, and he wanted to tie it in with the 1970s Bill Bixby television series. He wanted it to be more emotional and more character driven, and the creative powers that be didn't want that. They wanted something a lot less. So all in all, I would have to give the Incredible Hulk as it is, the version that we got, a solid C. I will go to you now, Ashley.
Oh, for the sake of time, I'm just going to agree with everything you said. I'm just going to. Yeah.
Incredible Hulk, Edward Norton's Hulk is better than Mark Ruffalo's Hulk. Okay,
absolutely.
Outside of Avengers, the story and the trajectory of Hulk progressively starts to go on the decline. Right at this point, he needs a regression because Professor Hulk is. We'll get there. I'll tell you how about I feel about that. Okay,
I got many opinions about that too. Yeah.
Okay, but when I'm looking at the Incredible Hulk. It's sad because Edward Norton, he didn't want to add things into the script, and he had an attitude, and he's apparently at times can be difficult to work with. So that also led to the recasting. But as a film, it's a solid B- to me. I enjoy Edward Norton as Incredible Hulk. I didn't really care about Liv Tyler, very much as Betty. But to me, Thaddeus Ross, William Hurt is amazing. Edward Norton, they're amazing in these roles. And unfortunately, due to some issues, he was recast. But to me, he's a better Hulk. I like the fact that we're seeing that both of these two stories are happening in the same week. Incredible Hulk is still canon. It's just a recast. So a lot of people don't like to talk about it because of the recast, but overall it is a very underrated film, and it should be, recognized for the film that it is. Abomination, is a great character. I wanted to see the leader later down the road, and we didn't get that. But Incredible Hulk, B- movie, the best Hulk that we had in the MCU, and it's just sad that when Mark Ruffalo came in, he did a good job in Avengers, and then slowly it became about, when we get to Thor Ragnarok, his character is abysmal in my opinion. But B- for Hulk, the Incredible Hulk, is where I think about that movie.
Okay, and now we'll go around the panel and get quick thoughts and grades on the Incredible Hulk. Starting with you, Johnny. You already gave your thoughts. You agreed with me.
Exactly. Yeah. Right across the board.
Carlos.
Yeah, I would say solid. B-ish, B minus. It was. I think it was the best one, like the best portrayals of the Hulk. It was a little too veiny for me. And now we're talking just like visual stuff, but I do like the horror elements. The Hulk, when it comes to fighting a human or being, unleashed, it's not pretty. You know what I mean? And the first Avengers film did tackle a lot, like kind of dabbled in it with when like he first transformed on the helicarrier. But besides that, yeah, it's a decent movie. I enjoy the watch.
Okay, Eddie.
Yeah, when it comes to the Incredible Hulk, it gets a bad name, but it's very underrated. I love Incredible Hulk, and just to say it now, I'll give it a B though, even though I do love it. I know they're going for a different thing when it comes to, obviously, going back to the 2003 movie that nobody wants to talk about that, but they were trying to fix up the character, and like even though Hulk was a popular character, I felt like people really care that much about seeing a movie from it. It's, obviously, especially when it comes to 2003 version. But like I said, I liked all the stuff that he was on the run from the government. All the chase sequences I thought were done very well. Him running as Banner, trying to get away from all the soldiers and all that stuff. And even the Hulk scenes where Abomination, him fighting him. I love Abomination, and just saying this, I can't wait to see him in She-Hulk. I miss that character, I really do. It's like nobody really cares about him. But yeah, seeing all that stuff, I get Edward Norton was going for a different feel.
He's going to show back up in She-Hulk. Is he going to be played by Tim Roth or?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah,
he is. Yes.
That is so epic. I hadn't heard that. That is. Oh man, now I'm hyped. Thank you for that.
How old is he?
Tim Roth?
Yeah.
Very
40s,
50s.
He's going to be in
Is he in his
mocap
50s?
suit. He'll be in a mocap suit, just
yeah, he'll be all right.
When we get to Red Hulk. So.
I mean, Robert Downey Jr. was running around in his 60s being Iron Man.
Robert Downey Jr. is 55. He just turned 55. I just had that debate with somebody.
He looks older.
Yeah, he's 55.
Yeah, well, going out in space as a superhero, that'll age you. RJ, what's your view on the Incredible Hulk?
It's all right. Like a C movie. I got like a C.
All right.
It's all right.
Okay. Belle Reeve.
Respectable.
Belle Reeve, Your Majesty, DC. What do you think of Incredible Hulk?
I watched that movie probably 5-6 years ago, whenever it came out, and the only thing I liked about it was Edward Norton, and I do notice it's a lot different than the other MCU movies, so I appreciate that. There's a lot more action and stuff, and guys, I don't really give a fuck about Marvel characters, so it's really hard for me to connect to these characters. So it was an okay movie. I can say that he's better than what's his name, the Mark Ruffalo cat. Way better.
Okay, so on a grade, what would you grade it? A, B, C, D, E, F. What would you grade it?
Give it about B.
Oh wow!
I can stand it. I can actually sit there and watch it versus the other fucking garbage they fucking have.
Okay,
so.
cool. All right, and Prime. Okay, Prime, Incredible Hulk. What's your thoughts, bro?
She's like, garbage.
Well, I give the Incredible. I give the Incredible Hulk.
The Incredible.
I actually give the Incredible Hulk an actual B minus. The reason why I give it a B minus is because that's actually the Hulk. I like Norton, his interpretation of Bruce Banner. The way that they did the Hulk was very on point. It's strictly out of the books, pretty much. When they had Abomination as his villain, that was actually good. So if they would have stuck to that until Disney got a hold of it, and then they just wanted to alter it, they wanted to take out the Hulk as entire. If I recall, Hulk in the MCU was only Hulk from Avengers. I think it was on the Avengers, to be honest with you. It was on the Avengers and the Age of Ultron that Hulk was actually Hulk before they tried to water him down. And they wanted to try to mix up Gray Hulk with the Green Hulk and make him funny. And, I just didn't care for them later on down the line how they changed it. But just Norton playing Hulk, that's Hulk. But when Ruffalo got a hold of it, and it's not his fault. It's not his fault at all. That's just Disney putting pop culture to it and to try to take out Hulk's essence, his true character of who he really is. And they wanted to make him to like a B character. So I'm kind of surprised that a lot of true hardcore Marvel fans did not get outraged because of that. And that's the thing that's kind of baffling to me. I know bits and pieces of Hulk, but other than that, the only thing that really got me was that they mixed in, I don't know if that was Infinity War or was that Endgame, but where they made Hulk and Banner come together, where they tried to mix the Green Hulk with the Gray Hulk and all that, and they tried to do that version and stuff like that. I understand the Gray Hulk's smart, but they tried to mix it together and then they tried to make him funny, and that's not Hulk. So it is what it is. But the Incredible Hulk is a B for me. I'll give it a B.
Okay, so now we're going to move into the next next DCEU movie, which would be, I would say, the most controversial DCEU film. And unfortunately, though, I feel like I have to make some rules for this one because it's such a divisive film for a lot of people. So what I'm going to do is I'm basically, because I want to get to some more Marvel movies since Ashley's here and we're trying to sort of debate the MCU. So I'm trying not to. So what I want to do with BVS, Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, is just go through everybody here. Just get your grade, not really what you think about it, because we've talked about BVS ad nauseum on this show.
Are we talking about the theatrical cut or the extended cut? Because I have two different grades.
Well, okay, well, yeah, that's what we'll do. We'll do the two different grades. That sounds good, Ashley. We'll just do the two different grades. For me, I'll start with myself here for BVS. The two different grades: the theatrical version, C minus; the Ultimate Edition, A plus. Ashley, go ahead.
The theatrical cut, a D. The Ultimate Edition is a B.
Okay, Carlos.
Yeah, I mean, I still cried during the theatrical, so I'd say more like, for me, like C plus for theatrical and an A for Ultimate.
All right, Johnny Alpha.
D.
Okay, Resident Justice.
Theatrical F, Ultimate Edition C plus. I'm playing. I play it actually. D for theatrical, C plus for Ultimate.
Okay, Eddie.
B for theatrical and B for the Ultimate Edition.
Okay, Belle Reeve.
I'm not gonna lie. A for the theatrical and A plus for the B for the Ultimate Edition.
Gotta love Belle Reeve. Okay, and Prime.
F for theatrical, A for Ultimate. There you go. All right.
Okay. So now we move over to Iron Man 2. This should be interesting. And I'm gonna start with Ashley.
So Iron Man 2, I've talked about the good and the bad, right? To me, it's not the worst MCU film. There's others, and we'll talk about those hopefully. For me, Iron Man 2, what's good about Iron Man 2 is we had those parallels between Tony Stark and Justin Hammer. Justin Hammer, Sam Rockwell is absolutely amazing in this movie, and he plays opposite really well against Robert Downey Jr. You have these two powerhouse actors in this film, just acting their butts off and showing us who they are. For example, when we think about just like Sam Rockwell in that moment is Justin Hammer when he's talking about, his different types of weapons, and he calls it, this one's the ex-wife. This is my Eiffel Tower. This is what he says. This is my Eiffel Tower in that moment, right? And he has this false sense of confidence, right? He's a sleazy, slimy, low-life guy, right? Same as Tony was before he came out of that cave. And Tony still in ways is still a sleazy, low-life guy. He's still selfish. But the way they go about executing what they're doing, Tony is still a hero, but he's still a very selfish person. And then we get elements of Demon in the Bottle. We get to see, how the reactor is killing him and him dealing with that internally and him dealing with drinking and then him having to hand over his company to Pepper and then Pepper losing the respect of Pepper. And what does that mean? And then Nick Fury trying to come to him and say, you know what? You need to be an Avenger. The biggest issue with the movie overall is Whiplash, okay? He is evil for the sake of being evil. The best moment with Whiplash is when Justin Hammer is, sarcastically, he's, basically going back and forth with him. And he says, I got you a bird. That's the best moment. And it's still
I've won my bird.
Asshole moment. And he's like, I got you. And he said, I got you a bird. You know how hard it was to get you that bird? And he's still always manipulating Whiplash. The whole thing with, Whiplash being able to control the drones was such a big issue for me overall. But there's greatness hidden within the movie, but it's still a C at the end of the day.
Okay. Okay. So that's a C for you for Iron Man 2. For me, I'm going to give Iron Man 2 a D minus. Carlos.
Yeah, I'd have to say I watched it. I don't really remember any part of it. It was really forgettable. And again, it kind of continued the big gray, mirror villain that has the exact same equipment or power set, And I just it had a really cool suit up in the beginning with the NASCAR and stuff. C minus.
Okay, RJ.
For me, I don't think it's nearly as bad as some people say. I know it has a reputation of being one of the worst MCU movies, but I think there's a lot of good in it. It's not a perfect movie by any stretch of the imagination. I'd probably go like a C plus, B minus, somewhere around there.
All right, Eddie.
I gave it a C.
All right, Belle.
The only thing I remembered is how ridiculous. What's his name? What's that actor's name? The one that played Whiplash.
Mickey Rourke.
Yes.
He was so over the top in that, man.
Yeah, that's all I remember is how fucking stupid he looked. But to be fair, I can't grade it because I didn't really pay attention to the movie, so I'm gonna have to pass on that one.
All right, Prime.
Oops, I didn't unmute myself. Iron Man 2. I give Iron Man 2 a C plus. Only reason why I give it that because it's it's entertaining for me. But I would say well, I like the beginning of it, and I like that's pretty much. That's why I gave it a C plus. So that's pretty much for Iron Man.
Yeah,
2.
looks like we got some Iron Man 2 fans in the chat here.
He's that's definitely a
Maybe not though. Maybe he's being genuine. You never know.
Not.
Maybe.
I don't know. All right, so the next movie we have is Wonder Woman from the DCEU. I'm gonna give Wonder Woman a solid A minus. Go ahead, Ashley.
It's a B minus.
Okay, fair enough. Carlos.
I'd have to say B. Yeah, B, middle B, because third act, no.
Okay,
Yeah.
Johnny Alpha.
Yeah, I gotta agree with Carlos. It's a B. The villain should have been much better. The villain messed the whole thing up, but it was still a really fun, really good, origin film. Badass. So yeah, B.
Okay. Eddie.
Yeah, I give it an A. I think the third act was a problem though,
Right. Yeah, everybody kind of has a problem with the third act. That's why I say that's why for me it was an A- because most of the movie was, good, but that third act was really
third act really,
RJ.
For me, it's a B+. It would have been an A+ if the third act was better. The final battle was better. It would have been perfect for me.
All right, I got you. Belle, Wonder Woman. What do you think?
About an A-.
Okay, and Prime.
A-. A-. Only reason why, because pretty much everybody said the third act.
Yeah.
It's the third act. We knew that the executives altered that, and that wasn't supposed to be the real ending. So that's what actually giving it an A- is
all right. So what's
Jeff
the
Johns
next?
for that one?
What's the next Marvel movie?
Thor.
Is it Thor?
I want to say something real quick. It's also a B- for me. Chris Pine is amazing in that movie, but Gal is not a great actress. She struggles at times in the movie, and it takes you out of it. Does she look the part at times? Absolutely. But does she convey that on screen? No.
That a friendly neighborhood Koji I see.
She is a fairly new actress, though. To be fair,
she stepped into this role to play Wonder Woman, this iconic character. So you gotta, if it's your turn up, you gotta knock it out. You should be able to knock it out. And the acting is just not strong enough throughout a lot of the movie. And then I know a lot of people in Wonder Woman 1984 is a complete regression. She only went the opposite way.
Garbage.
She has not improved. She is getting worse in this role.
Yeah, that is by far her worst movie. But we will get to that eventually.
Wait.
I have lots of issues with that movie.
I think her acting was a little, despite the movie being fucking garbage, her acting was a little bit slightly better than her acting in part one. The scene with her and Chris Pine when she's crying, telling him that she needs to get her powers back or whatnot. She did pretty fucking good in that scene, in my opinion.
I think, in my opinion, that scene is powerful because of Chris Pine, not because of her. I don't buy it. I don't believe it. It seems like she's trying to emote on her face. It looks like a fake crying situation when I'm looking at her. So for me, I don't buy it.
I buy it. So. And in BVS, her acting is fucking phenomenal. It just
she's
depends.
barely in the movie. She's a badass. When she walks on the screen and she's a badass for 5 minutes here and there, she's good. But when she has to convey true emotion outside of being a badass, she's not. I don't believe it, and I don't buy it. Is what I'm saying. She's good at being that badass character.
I think in the first film,
character.
I think in the first film,
she was the best part of BVS to me.
When she does the No Man's Land scene, she's pretty badass.
That scene is good. She's a badass.
Yes, it is.
There. She's being a badass.
It's only when she has to speak.
Are you saying she's only good for one thing?
I want to get
being a badass. I'm sorry. I want to get Snyder.
I want to get Snyder Spider-Man's view on this. Okay, Snyder Spider-Man. This is Lord Koj, Snyder Spider-Man. We got to find out from you. What?
Took a fat.
You okay?
Yeah, it's on.
He's on.
Hang in there, just breathe.
Yeah, puff, give, brother.
Y'all seen that old clip from the 60s or 70s where the guy's singing and he's all coughing, he looks to the side and he's coming in?
Shit. Hey, Koj, what's your take on the first Wonder Woman movie, though, man? What's your grade and overall opinions on it?
I liked it. It was pretty cool. I mean, I give it a B+.
Nice. Okay. So we're going to go to Thor 1. We'll let Zod go ahead and take over when he gets back. But Ashley, since this is kind of your show, you want to kind of dive into the first Thor film?
What, me?
Thor.
No,
Thor 1.
No, Ashley.
Thor 1. Loki and Odin are superior in every way in this movie. Loki, you get to see the beginnings. We get to see Loki discover that he's actually a frost giant. And in that moment when he says, and you would never let a frost giant sit on the throne, it's a powerful moment. It's the beginning of his arc. To me, I feel like Thor really, that movie lays on the back of Thor and lays on the back of Odin. Chris Hemsworth is good as Thor, but we know within this world that where we're getting Shakespearean Thor, he doesn't translate very well. The best moments that he has is when we get peaks of Chris Hemsworth, when he throws the mug down and he says, I'll have another. But I mean, Thor has to learn this lesson, and he's stripped of his powers. And then once he is willing to make that sacrifice, I believe those moments with Chris Evans, Chris Hemsworth. But other than overall, the chemistry between him and Natalie Portman is absolutely. I don't like her as Jane. I don't like her in the MCU. I don't buy them together, and so for me, it's a B minus.
Okay,
I gotta agree with Ashley. It's a B minus for me, but it was also the best of the Thor movies for me. I think Kenneth Branagh actually handles Asgard very well and treats it with the respect that you should. I think that Thor is a very Shakespearean character. So for me, Thor number 1 is the best of the 3.
And then Destroyer, I can't believe nobody's brought up Destroyer yet, man. He was just so cool in the movie. He kind of really made it for me. Yeah, I'll give it a C. It's a really good setup film. I really it was great to see the Rainbow Bridge and all that shit on film for the first time. I wish it was the first time I saw that they were really going to be taking this shit silly, though, and it hurt a little bit, but I don't know, the stings wore off. But yeah, Thor was when you got the first signs of how the MCEU was going to be, or the MCU, in my opinion.
No, I get you, man.
You want to go, Carlos?
Yeah. All like full transparency. I never watched Thor 1 and 2.
Oh, okay, you're fired. Get on.
Oh God, that's
that's actually okay. That's actually okay that you haven't watched
fine,
it. That's
dude.
cool.
That's the only ones I never watched. I'm sorry, the only MCU movies I never watched.
I'm disappointed.
You probably watched more
I'm
than
gonna
me,
go
man.
over
Don't
here
worry.
and cry in the corner now that you've not seen every film in the MCU at least 50 times, guys. Okay, like me. You got to see it. See what you think. I want you to see it and tell me if you like Thor: The Dark World. I'm curious.
Oh man, talk about going to dark places when we get to that movie. Oh Jesus.
Yeah, there's 2 good things about that movie.
Oh, there's 2?
Yeah.
Well, I like Thor 2 more than Thor 1.
Probably the Guardians tease in the end.
Wow.
One I've already mentioned from the first one. So there we have it. But yeah, I'll make sure I don't say too much. I don't know. Is it cool if we spoil it? Where you haven't seen
I mean,
it?
I personally don't care.
Okay,
You're gonna ruin Carlos's life.
Cool.
Eddie,
So,
man, you wanna take
who's
over?
going
How do you
next?
feel about Thor Part 1?
I like Thor, and like I'm saying, they definitely, despite the obviously with the source material, they tried to take that movie as serious as they could. It's just that they were too serious with it. But look, I think it was it was a good movie. It was a good, first movie in the Thor, franchise or whatever you want to call it. But like I'm saying, I love seeing Asgard in live action. It was, seeing it, I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then how they were able to explain magic and science and say they were both the same and all that stuff. I loved how they try to, explain that to obviously the human characters. I was like, oh, that's cool. 9 realms, they're all connected in one way and all that stuff. It was nice to see that. And like I'm saying, something about the science too. There were like moments where they were talking about the science, but then the other moments where they were talking about the magic and the transitions with Asgard and on Earth. And like I'm saying, him having to show that he was worthy when he was stripped of his powers, I thought it was great too. Loki's acting was great, like I'm saying. The Destroyer, I think the Destroyer was just there to be there. I didn't think the Destroyer really matters that much. Natalie Portman, I kind of feel the same way about that relationship. It's just, they're just like I don't feel a certain way when I see both of them together and stuff like that. It's just how it is. But I think I would give, like I said, I'll give it like a B. Yeah, that's pretty much it. The Frost Giants were cool, and so was Odin and stuff.
RJ.
Hey, Bell's got her crown on.
Got the mirror thing.
They got the tiara.
I like it.
Yeah,
Hey,
I mean, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, I was just gonna start. You go.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, I mean, for me, Thor's it's all right. It's pretty good. I mean, I'd probably go like, probably like a B minus. I think, if it would have been, I would have liked to see more Asgard stuff. Loki's pretty good. I mean, I liked it. Best part of the movie I saw when I was 12 years old. My whole family went to go see it. It came around my birthday. All my aunts and my mom, when Chris Hemsworth took his shirt off, they're all sweating and going, "Damn." So that was the funniest part. Just 12-year-old me. Yeah.
Yeah, when I went and saw it in the theater, it was just full of teen girls. I felt kind of weird being in there because, it was just, I was like the only dude in this theater full of teen girls sitting there to watch Hemsworth and Hiddleston, and I was just kind of like, yep, sometimes being a nerd is this awkward, I guess.
Dang. Yo, y'all, I don't know. I thought Thor 1 was pretty all right. It was cool because I'm also coming off of, the 80s. Y'all see that Masters of the Universe film with Dolph Lundgren. That was pretty dope. And this Thor film kind of felt like the same kind of premise, except the reason why they're on Earth is more of a life lesson for Thor. And I thought that was kind of cool angle. And that was pretty cool. I want to see more Asgard and all that, but I got that in the second one. So it's chill. I'll give it a B.
Prime?
I give Thor 1 an actual C+. The only reason why I like Thor 1 out of the 3, it'll be Thor 1, 2, well, they basically in order if you want to get technical. The only reason why I say I like Thor is because they actually kept Thor as Thor. So I would say that him actually being a thunder god, his mannerisms, the way that he is, the way that he acts, that's how he was supposed to be interpreted until they start changing him.
Yeah, Prime. It was like a comic book accurate version of Thor. Actually,
exactly. Natalie Portman playing. I really didn't care for it. I didn't really. Playing Jane. I didn't care for it because she was kind of annoying. But to me, that's just me. But other than that, hey, the Thor movie was good. Actually, to be honest with you, I would put, if y'all still talking about Thor 2, I'll put Thor 2 first, then Thor 1, and then Ragnarok.
What?
I'm the same way. By the way, the
only reason why I get Thor 2, because first of all, he went to different worlds. Because I like at the beginning where they started out where he was fighting when he went to the actual the freeze planet. I can't think of those dudes' names.
Ice giants, frost giants.
Yeah.
Jotunheim.
Yeah, Jotunheim. Yeah, he went and then it was more aspects, and then you start to see more of the lore with Asgard, and he started doing more stuff, and then you understood about the actual what's that goddamn thing or whatever. That she got possessed with. Yeah.
Oh, the Aether.
The Ether. The Ether. And then you seen Odin talking about it. You understand they had to protect it, and you saw more Asgard. So I say I'd put 2 just because of that on top. And then of course the first one has to be an origin. You got to introduce everybody, but for Thor being himself, I'll do 2 first as the best Thor, then the first one, and then the third one. And then, I'm not saying Thor Ragnarok was bad. It's just that they made that into a comedy, and everybody know Thor Ragnarok in the book. That's a blood fest.
That's true. But when we think about Thor, the Dark World, in my opinion, the best parts are still Loki. Those moments where his mother, has now given up on him essentially. And then the death of
that too.
To me, those are the powerful, the villain is weak. The explanation of the ether, I did you know, like how they try to, you know, that was shoehorned in afterwards, though. That was an add-on in the movie, but they did explain, you know, the reality stone, as you will. But the chemistry is still off with Jane and Thor. Why are they together in this movie? It's just so boring. And the worst thing overall that a movie can do, in my opinion, is bore me. Yes, Thor is very on par with who Thor is in the comic books. And why do we have this shift going into Thor Ragnarok? Because the Thor that we had was not translating and was not pulling those audiences in. So they did infuse a lot more of Chris Hemsworth. And yes, I agree. It's not true, and it's not the essence of who Thor is in Thor Ragnarok. But if y'all want to talk about it now or later, I have a lot of defense for that movie in other ways, but there are issues with it. But Thor Ragnarok, it is what it is. I knew once Taika Waititi was coming to direct the movie that I was getting a comedy, because I know who he is and I enjoy his other material. And I knew that I was going to watch a comedy. And so I knew that it was going to be a play and Chris and Thor making fun of himself and them making jokes. But there are a lot of serious beats in that movie that I feel like don't get enough credit, because all you think about it are the jokes. When we look at Thor Ragnarok, Thor Ragnarok is a story, is very serious.
Yeah, you can say all you want.
Thor is not a comedic character, though.
Exactly.
That's the problem.
They had to switch it over.
I just said that.
It was not the audiences didn't give a hell about
the audience. He wasn't translating, so they did something different. They did take a chance, and I had serious issues when I was like, oh, Taika's directing this movie. I knew what I was getting once he signed on to do the movie, because that's what Taika does. You know, he makes funny comedy movies, you know, and I enjoy his work, but I was concerned, and I had several talks about this. But when I look at Thor Ragnarok, it does a lot for Thor's arc moving forward into Infinity War, which makes him the antagonist of that movie. And it also does a lot for Loki, which helps set up his death. But now, unfortunately, with Loki, all this great character development now is being rewritten, which is bullshit, in my opinion, when it comes to Loki. But that's a whole other topic.
Yeah, say all you want about the comedy and the humor, but that saved his character. That definitely saved him.
It did save it revitalized the franchise. I get it. I don't necessarily was not really willing to buy into it. Right, just like I wasn't really willing to buy into the fact that Jason Momoa is Aquaman, because he doesn't look like Aquaman, right?
But he was good though.
But
he doesn't look like Aquaman. He looks like Aquaman.
But I'm saying when we're talking about,
he does look good.
But I'm just saying, when we're talking about things that come from comic books,
comic accurate, yes.
And I'm just saying, if we're gonna have an issue with Thor being jokey, that is not Aquaman.
No, it's not. I agree.
He does not look like that, and
he doesn't
I have
act
a lot
like
of
that
issues
either.
with race bending and all of that. That is not Aquaman. Okay, that's the point that I'm making. That is a new interpretation of the character. In Thor Ragnarok, we get a new interpretation of Thor. Why? Because it wasn't translating. And that's all I'm doing, is making the point and being consistent here.
I mean, it still works.
Annoyed and very
maybe this is a hot take. Maybe this is a hot take.
I mean, you were saying something about.
Isn't he half? I want to say he's half Gavacho.
She's saying something about Aquaman. What are you saying? That's not Aquaman.
Jason Momoa, isn't he half white?
But what does Aquaman look like in the comic books?
It looks like a white boy
with blonde hair. And Jason Momoa does not loes like that.
I mean,
okay.
I remember the first podcast, people said he looks like Lobo.
Snyder likes brunettes.
That's an inconsistency with who the character is in the comic books. That is the point that I make.
And then you said about the humor too, right?
When it comes to Thor, I had.
Well, when it comes to Aquaman as well, like all the humor and all that stuff.
I mean, that's not really who he is. So
like
I'm saying, when we're talking about
actually.
So that's him. He's a surfer bro. He does those things in the comic books.
In Smallville, he
Does
did.
he look? Does he look like Jason Momoa? Is he basically look like a white guy with blonde hair?
I can agree, but it still worked out fine. So it's like
But I'm just saying.
No, I agree.
I didn't even get a chance. I didn't
I
even
love
get a chance to
Aquaman,
say
but I'm
anything.
just saying. But when we're talking about being consistent, who the character is, when you pull it from the page, Jason Momoa is not that Aquaman. Okay, because it's a race band. I'm still talking about the inconsistencies from a story standpoint. That is the point that I'm making.
It depends on what version of Aquaman that you're really looking forward to, because
there's versions of Aquaman that look like Jason Momoa.
I mean,
yeah, there's one that looks like him, but not with the.
There is an ideal version of Aquaman.
Not with the dark hair. That's for sure.
There's an ideal version of Aquaman. That's the one she's talking about. Yes, everybody.
Yeah, the ideal one she's talking about with the highlighted blonde hair, pretty much.
I'm just saying, when we're talking about, that's a race band. That's an inconsistency with the character from the book, from the source material. Just like
okay, I mean, I understand, but
if you want the point that I'm making. So I'm saying we can have issues over here on this side, but but I'm saying there's an issue over here because that's an inconsistency with who Aquaman is. That's the point that I was making. But I love Aquaman. I think it's a good movie. I don't have a problem with the movie.
Well, just his character as a whole, the interpretation of him is completely accurate, except for the blonde hair.
Yo, RJ, you said you had a hot take,
What about the
Grandmaster?
The race and gender bent him.
Yeah.
Well, if you want me to drop off,
the Grandmaster and Doctor Strange, they gendered and race bent him too.
Yes, they do.
The
ancient one. The ancient one is gender race bended. Okay. Just like I mean, there's several characters that are gender bend, race bend, and I don't like gender bending, and I don't like race bending because it's not being true to the source material. Okay. And I had a lot of issues going into Thor Ragnarok that this was not going to be traditional Thor from the stories, Thor from the comic books, but I bought into it because I tried to take myself out of it and say, this is the Thor that exists within the MCU. This is him, and this is part of his arc. And you see these things that happen in this movie. Yes, it's a funny movie, but that opening up and that music and that grand, and when that's a very great opening, right? And then when we have that moment when after he goes to see Doctor Strange and he's there with his father and his father is dying, and when Odin looks at Loki and he calls him his son, Loki's able to let go of that hatred and that bitterness through this whole movie. Loki is understanding that when his brother says, you've always been the god of mischief, brother, but you could be so much more, right? So Loki and Thor, even in those serious moments when Thor is learning, it's hard for him to win in this story, right? He is losing at every turn, but it's funny. And by the end of the film, he's lost his home. Now he's lost his father. He's lost his home. He's lost his mother. And then we get to Infinity War and he loses his brother. So these were all things that, yes, it was funny, but when we're at the end, he's now lost his home and he's lost a lot, right? And all of these things that happen within that movie, these serious beats that you get, him doubting the fact that he can't be the god of thunder without that hammer. And what does his father say when his sister's saying, "What are you the god of again, brother? What are you the god of again, brother?" And then his dad is telling him, "Are you the god of hammers?" Right? That was so you could harness your power. These are still epic moments within this movie. Yes, there's a lot of funny, but there's a lot of epicness that helps Thor get to the place that he needs to get to next in the art and the overarching narrative of who he is as a character. So that's me. I keep on going and going and going. Sorry.
I guess we're covering like the whole character. I think it'd be more efficient.
Yeah,
I think it'd be more efficient. Yeah.
Let's do our grids on the other two Thor movies really fast.
That's good info.
Like, I give Dark World C-, and I give Ragnarok B+.
I'd say Ragnarok B+. I haven't seen Dark World.
If I'm gonna grade it, Thor: The Dark World is a D minus. It's the shittiest freaking movie. It's one of the worst comic book movies I've ever seen. Okay, there's only two that's below it, and that's Birds of Prey, and Birds of Prey. Is the worst. But when I get to Thor Ragnarok, that's a B. It's a B.
RJ?
RJ, go ahead.
Yeah, so for me, Thor: The Dark World is a C-, and Ragnarok is an A+. I think it's one of the best MCU movies. Well, that's one of the hot takes. The other hot take is I don't think there's an MCU movie below like a C-. I don't think it's like a truly like horrible.
Well, that's
MCU
because
movie.
you're an MCU shill. That's
We haven't talked
it is.
about.
so we're
can
good.
name one below
That's
C.
fine.
I can name.
I'm not
one
about C-
below-
though. I'm saying like there's no MCU movie like a D- or F tier.
I
that's what I'm saying.
think there's a D.
Well, okay. Well, then I'm gonna jump and I'm gonna do my Thor Ragnarok and Thor Dark World.
Oh,
I actually enjoyed Thor Dark World. I give Thor Dark World a solid B, and I absolutely hated Thor Ragnarok. I will give Thor Ragnarok the first F- for the MCU because that movie to me completely bastardized Thor. The movie made no sense whatsoever. If I wanted a comedic Thor, I would watch some of the old Marvel cartoons. That's not what I wanted out of Thor, especially after the first movie. We got a nice Shakespearean movie directed by Kenneth Branagh. It was great. Thor: The Dark World, had a lot of like sci-fi elements I thought was interesting. I've never been a fan of the relationship between Thor and Natalie Portman. There's a lot of comic book accurate directions they could have went with Thor, but they chose not to. So for me, Thor Ragnarok F-. Who's next?
To be fair, Jane Foster is not in Thor Ragnarok.
Bonus.
Oh yeah, she's
Yeah,
not.
but still doesn't matter.
You have to give it up a grade for that.
She's not in the movie.
That's okay. That's okay. I hate her character. She doesn't have to be in the movie.
I think there's some light points in Ragnarok. I think.
Yeah, Thor Ragnarok has a lot of saving grace. It sets up the arc moving forward for Thor. Okay, and so for me, it's not an F-. There's a lot. I mean, everything with Hulk is utter garbage. Okay, absolute garbage. Yeah,
Hulk was great in that
that
movie.
was
I liked Hulk.
Probably the
Bruce
best Hulk
Banner
we
is
had
too
since
goofy.
the Ed Norton one.
I'm talking about the beginning, yes. I'm talking about after he turns back into Bruce Banner. After that, that's what I'm talking about. When we go after that, after he fights him and he's like, he's a friend from work. After we get past all that, right? When he turns back into Bruce Banner and then he falls and he's like, wait, and then he falls and he hurts himself, then he comes back up as Thor. All of that is trash. Just his interaction with Thor, what Thor says to him in those moments is completely ridiculous, and you should be fighting. And in those epic moments of fighting, I don't like the jokes. And I don't like anything that they did with Hulk after the beginning of the film. After we get past Sakaar and they escape there, as they're trying to escape, because that's what heroes do,
So I guess I'm next. Something about it too was they were giving us a source material with Thor. It just wasn't working. Nobody cared. That's why they had to change it up, because nobody cared. They were giving us that comic accurate Thor, but nobody cared. That's what I had to say. But yeah, when it comes to Thor: The Dark World, I give it a C. And when it comes to Ragnarok, I give it a B+.
All right. Belle, did you see the Thor movies? Prime?
Damn.
Okay, Coach.
I'm right here.
Our panel is asleep. Okay.
No. I just got on mute. I'm just letting everybody talk. That's all. No, I seen other Thor movies, like I said. Thor for me, like I said, I like Dark World as my number one. The first one would be my second, and Ragnarok would be my third. The reason why I don't care for Ragnarok too much, for one, like Zod said, they made Thor a shell of himself. They made it a comedy. And my thing is that I'm into source material. So that's my thing. I understand. I go for what the story is worth. I understand what they're trying to do. It's a money grab. It's a Disney film. So they did what they had to do to make it as a Disney film, a Disney property. So they made it child friendly. They made it funny. They made it comedic. That's what they did. So I mean, I'm not going to give Ragnarok. I'm going to give Ragnarok as a score. I will give it a C minus. So only reason why is because there's funny moments. It's entertaining. If you take it from the MCU and just take it for a standalone movie by itself, it's just funny. That's it. I'm not looking at it connected nothing or nothing like that. You looking at it as that is just a funny comedic movie, and that's it. Other than that, that's my ranking of
Well,
it.
and then of course they took Thor, and this is just a side note. They took Thor and continued to make him a comedic joke.
Yep.
In all of the MCU movies that came after.
Not Infinity War.
Let me talk about Infinity War. What he does in Infinity War is still important to his arc. Yes, he becomes Fat Thor, but why does he become Fat Thor? Here's a man who's over 1,000 years old, right? He's no. Here's a man who's over 1,000 years old, who doesn't lose, who's one of the greatest warriors of all time, right? And in that moment, when he's up against Thanos, his whole goal, think about what he says to Rocket in Infinity War. He's done lost everything at this point. He lost half of his people on that ship, right, already. And then he lost another half during the snap. But when we go back, the whole thing in Infinity War, he's like, I gotta have this, I gotta do this, I gotta do this, and I got to fight, and I gotta beat him, right? And in that moment, what does he do? Instead of going for the head, he goes and he takes him in the chest. And that moment replays over in his mind, over and over and over again. Thanos telling him, you should have gone for the head. He loses in this moment. That is rock bottom for Thor. Thor does not lose. You know why? Because he's arrogant, right? He's even though he's grown from Thor 1, his arrogance still is his biggest downfall. He's arrogant in those moments. He can't accept the fact that he lost, that he let his people down, that he left Earth down, who he's supposed to protect, that he let the other Avengers down, the ones that are no longer here on Earth. They're all gone. This man lost. And what does he do? He internalizes it. He becomes withdrawn. He won't leave the house. He becomes an alcoholic. He starts to eat. Yes, at times he has funny moments, but the fact that he becomes Fat Thor, he is literally depressed because he feels like he's no longer worthy and that he's a horrible king. He did not live up to what his father wanted him to be. He was meant to be king, and he's now failed his people. He's lost his home. He's lost everybody, and he's lost half of his people now twice. And his job was to be king, right? And to protect the people of Asgard, and also to protect the people of Earth. And his inability to do that affects him to the point where he withdraws and becomes an alcoholic, and he starts.
I give you that. I give you that.
Part of his art overall. Yeah. Yes. The fact that he's Fat Thor, and that's why they didn't play into the fact that once during that battle with Thanos, that epic battle at the end of the movie, when he turns back into Thor, he puts his suit on, he's still fat, because they didn't want it to be, oh, he can access this power from Mjolnir, and then he can transform back into his original self, because they didn't want it to play it off that it's just an easy fix. Right? Because he was still fat, he was still going through these things, and the only thing that helped him in that moment was his mother, right? Because even when he goes back to Thor: The Dark World from 2014, in those moments, right? And he's having that back and forth. He tells Rocket, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do this. Right? And then his mother sees him, and his mother is what helps him realize, you know what? You're still worthy. You know what I'm saying? You can only stop living up to the ideals of what others want you to be. Stop living up to these ideals, right? All you can do is be happy within yourself and be who you want to be. If you don't want to be king, you don't need to be
Justice League 2 Superman gets fat.
So there's that.
Never.
You want to see him with a beard cut?
Gods get fat in mythology.
But they'll just rush his death. They'll just rush Superman's death.
He'll die when he gets fat.
Yeah, they'll kill Superman.
He'll die of overeating.
Yeah, they'll kill Superman off 2 movies in their universe.
They should not have brought Doomsday into that movie.
That's why we can't talk about BVS, because BVS, that was the stupidest shit ever that he died in the second movie.
That was a Doomsday Code. It wasn't Doomsday.
I was serious as hell.
All right, so a
Who was
lot of
going to
people.
kill Doomsday? Who was going to kill Doomsday?
Hold on.
Superman was the only one that could freaking do it, and he freaking sacrificed himself. Okay? So-
do we rush Doomsday into this
So-
movie? He should not have been there. It should have been.
They shouldn't have killed
the main-
Superman off.
It should have been
I mean, they rushed the
mainly
Justice League, too.
about Superman versus Batman. If they would have stuck to that through line instead of rushing in Doomsday and killing him off in this movie, no.
I
They
thought
should have
no-
stuck
you
to
know-
the
you
fact-
know- you know
the
what?
main, the main
That's your opinion.
conflict should have been about Batman.
I-
Yes, that's my opinion.
I would say, hold on.
That's
Hold on.
another reason.
How do
why
we
the
get to
film
BVS?
is
Yeah.
because the DC movies are more interesting to talk about. That's why.
Yeah, they actually cut you deep
They're
and
more
they're memorable,
polarizing is what
very
they are.
memorable.
Not
That's why
like
people
so,
feel.
my,
Yeah,
so,
Who's more successful? Who gets more money? Who's
BVS.
well praised by critics and audiences, though?
Yeah,
Just saying, I'm a DC guy, but that's the truth. I'm being logical about it.
It's a polarizing
Alright,
movie. That's
all
why
right.
people talk about it.
the reason for the peak.
Not because it's a great movie and worldwide loved by everyone.
To you, it's not a great movie.
I didn't say. I said.
It's subjective.
Hold on.
Subjective.
Ladies.
I just stopped instigating now.
I just want to say, God, Snoop gets that. I agree.
Okay, it's worldwide. I have no problem discussing the merits of the movie because I don't hate the movie. I'm talking about overall, worldwide. It's not universally loved. It's not my opinion. It's the fact.
The reason why it's not universally.
actually,
Hold on.
BBS is shreds, though. That's the
Yes.
thing.
Oh, the reason why BVS is not universally loved is because, first of all, it's ahead of its time. People are marginalized, their condition, and the movie was a little bit too. No, okay. So let me break it down to you on the reason why feel. Hold on. When a person is speaking, learn to let the person speak, and when they're done, then you speak.
I speak what I speak. That's why I'm here.
Right. You're lucky you're not on my panel because I will mute you. Then I done.
I'm on Zod's panel, and he knows
right.
how I
But
talk,
I'm telling you an example. I'm just telling you an example. If you was on my panel,
I would not be on your panel.
Exactly, because you're rude as fuck.
I'm not.
Hey, there's no need for that, man.
Tone it down.
Look, I gotta go. I gotta go because I can't deal with no rowdy black woman. I'm out.
Oh shit!
There was no need for that. There was no need for that.
Well, there's the end of that.
Wow, dude! All
That's
because
why
of
we
a
can't
fat
talk about
Superman
BVS. That's why
pun,
we can't
dude.
talk about BVS.
I thought the fat Superman pun was actually funny, Eddie. I mean, honestly, that's like
Yeah,
one of
but
my
then I
favorites
did-
tonight.
Look, I tried to be funny with that, but I didn't think it was a whole debate was gonna happen.
Yeah, man, you started it goddamn right in the hair salon, bro.
Well, I'm just saying,
nuts.
there was no reason to go after
Let's take a
Ashley and
breath.
say that. No, that was ridiculous.
Dude, it got crazy fast up in here, though, man. Like, I don't know. Like, Man of Steel, I didn't think that it would get to that. I thought we'd get into words with BVS, and I was kind of happy that Zod skipped it, but somehow it just, like the mobster said, like, no matter
My
how far
fault.
you think you're out, it pulls you back in, man.
It's my fault for mentioning it.
It's okay, dude. Like,
fine.
what were you not supposed to ever say at the entire show? It's going to be a hard topic to fucking avoid there, brother. I'm just saying. Hey, what was your hot take, RJ?
I already said it.
Oh, did you? My bad.
I said
had
Thor
a-
Ragnarok is one of the best MCU movies in my opinion.
Oh, I absolutely love it, dude.
dude.
I mean, it's a terrible adaptation of the comic book, but it's a fucking fun, just stupid, fun sci-fi movie. I love it for the same reasons I love Suicide Squad, which should have been the next movie we would talk about. And dude, like Suicide Squad always gets skipped, man. Like my boy Rick Flag never gets love.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't like
I-
Suicide Squad.
I don't like it either, but I like the idea of it. I think that there's a good movie there, and
Yeah, that's why I want-
think we're
that's
gonna
why I
see
want
it
the
soon.
internet.
But so I just enjoy what I have at the moment because it is just fun as a bad film in my opinion, personally. And I like bad movies. I like watch full moon shit and trauma movies, so that's what I dig. But woo, you guys still want to talk about Marvel movies or like that sounds fun?
Let's talk Ninja Turtles.
I kind of feel like we've went as far as we could go with Marvel movies because it's so funny how the second we got back on BVS, everybody had something to say, but when we were talking about Thor, nobody gave a damn. So
I can't wait till you
I
kids
care.
actually.
We don't have controversies. That's why.
Did you ask everybody what they thought about Thor Ragnarok?
Yeah,
I did. I asked you, but you must have stepped away for a moment. You were the only one we didn't get your Thor Dark World and Thor Ragnarok ratings. We didn't get.
Yeah.
A Thor Dark World, I don't really remember, but Thor Ragnarok, I went to go watch that in theater, and then I think I watched it. No, it wasn't my choice. My husband, he's a humongous, like he loves Marvel, but he also loves DC. But I think he low key likes Marvel better.
Bell's living proof that Marvel and DC fans can get along. Look at that.
Anyways, but
I've always read both.
No,
I find it very entertaining. It was an entertaining film, but it was very shallow. It was just funny and entertaining. It was a popcorn flick. So, I mean, it's watchable. It's better than Birds of Prey.
Man, everybody hates on that except for me. Am I literally probably the only person here that likes Birds of Prey?
I like Birds of Prey.
Well, I haven't seen it, so I can't say.
I thought of a way to make Birds of Prey better, and in my brain, I kept on going back to the Joker and Harley Quinn movie we were supposed to get.
I mean, to be honest, when it comes to Birds of Prey, the audiences and both critics both well received it. It's just that I've seen a running theme that it's mostly the Snyderverse people have a problem with Birds of Prey, in my opinion.
Birds of Prey's trash, dude. Let's be real. Like,
you can say the same thing about
Birds of Prey is a solid F minus. Birds of Prey is another F minus. I can't stand that.
Just because it was a smaller story doesn't mean it's F minus.
I do like some things about Birds of Prey, though. I like Black Mask. But before I continue talking, I just want to say, hey, Zod, I apologize, but like, I just can't. You know what I mean? I gotta defend myself. I'm sorry. And I told you guys I will defend BVS with my fucking life. Okay, so and I mean that shit. All right.
No, Bell, you don't have to apologize. I'm just happy you're here. This has been a fun panel, all things considered. I didn't expect what happened between Prime and Ashley. That's why I stayed out of it. I thought they were going to come. I thought they were going to come to a. I thought they were going to cool it because Prime doesn't usually get like that. So I don't know what happened. Yeah. I don't know what happened there.
I feel bad that she's still not here. Like, I'm not going to lie. I kind of feel bad about that.
I think sometimes people are other people's kryptonite and just makes everyone go Super Saiyan.
Because people really take it more seriously. People take it more seriously than it should. It's superheroes in comics. I'm sorry.
Eddie's speaking facts right now.
People like superheroes.
Eddie.
Yeah, I'm right there with Eddie, man. Like, this is my life. I read comics. I debate comics. I do comic live streams on my channel. And, we have difference of opinions, man. And it gets heated. But, I mean, I never, like... That's some little kid stuff. I ain't seen people get that fired up about Superman and Spider-Man since kindergarten or something, man. That was unreal.
Like, it just got way too
female energy too on here, and so.
Well, I didn't know that Prime and Ashley had a past. I didn't know that.
Do they have a past?
I don't think.
They do. They have a past. They've interacted before. And I guess they didn't agree with each other or something. And so when I say they have a past, that's what I'm talking about. They've interacted with each other before and it didn't go well. And had I known that, I wouldn't have brought Prime on because the whole reason we were doing this was because we wanted to debate Ashley about the MCU because she's a big MCU fan. That was the whole point of the show. If she was going to get mad at Prime and leave, or Prime was going to get mad and she was going to get mad. I mean, I didn't know this. I didn't know this going in. I didn't know this ahead of time. I wish I would have known. Had I known, I would not have done that because I don't want there to be that kind of disagreement on my stream. So, I wish Ashley would come back because that's what the whole point of, this whole Marvel DC discussion that we're having right now. It's not to get anybody mad. We're not trying to, anger people. It's all in fun. And again, film is subjective. Everybody has their opinions. And I agree. I think it's great. Val, it's nice to see you defend BVS because I feel the same way about these movies. So that's what it's about. Now, Ryan, what do you think about all this? You just joined the stream. What's your thoughts?
Chaos.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely, absolute chaos. Yes,
That's
yes,
BVS.
sir.
I love BVS, by the way. So there you go.
I like it too.
Yeah, yeah. It's hard
I had a bit of a spicy take on BVS. I was gonna
Yes.
say, yeah, because I was gonna be a little bit devil's advocate with Ashley. I actually think Doomsday, the choice of having Doomsday as a final villain in that movie,
Team
wasn't
that
the
was
best
that was
choice.
Warner Brothers' decision. Warner Brothers forced Warner Brothers forced Zack Snyder to put Doomsday in that movie because they wanted death of Superman.
Doomsday though.
If you guys want to do this, I'll argue this because I actually have Ashley's point of view. I think it is dumb as hell that they murdered Superman in the second film. If we want to have the talk that she was kind of having, I can totally debate that with you guys if you're open to like do a chill.
I disagree.
Yeah, I'm with that. I was
bring it up, bring it. Like I want to hear it. Come on.
Go, Ryan.
With me.
Yeah, Ryan, come on. You're new, and yeah, let's hear it.
No, I wanted to say the reason I like the fact that Superman died in the second film is that the significance that it has is that it unifies the Justice League. Bruce has the newfound faith within him to be the man that he once was, the crime fighter that he set out to be all those years ago, 20 years in Gotham. And it brings Wonder Woman out of her shell and out of her, in hiding when she lost her faith in mankind. And it unified the world. Under Superman's, there was no more division in that moment. I mean, I'm sure there still was, but for the most part, people unified against him in his sacrifice for mankind. So I think it has great significance. I don't think it was unintentional at all.
It also wasn't Doomsday, technically.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
also,
then he shouldn't have died.
In space.
I'll have to amend what I said because thinking in the context now, seeing the cut. I have to stop thinking of it as like how I perceived the Whedon cut, which was basically they killed Superman off just to bring him back to life as fast as possible,
just saying.
which made no sense. But in the Snyder cut, like it's actually a really glorious thing that they kind of pull off with. I didn't really care much for the religious overtones until the actual payoff in the Snyder cut. So in the context of the canon version of the films out there, I think it's completely stupid that they killed him off. After watching the Snyder Cut, it makes a little more sense. I still think it's a rash move to kill the big cheese off. They could have hurt him really bad and had him heal in a bathtub in the country like Leonardo, or no, it was Raphael. In the Ninja Turtles.
You want to see that?
There wouldn't have been no significance to what he was doing. There wouldn't have been that sacrifice.
It would have still been a huge deal if Superman got trashed and he didn't get up for like a month. You know what I mean? I would have still put some people in. That wouldn't put people in awe after all the shit they seen that he could do, and then all of a sudden that guy can't get up. Superman's in a coma. Like that's pretty traumatic. That's pretty like on.
I think that's good enough.
I mean, he was kind of in a coma technically.
No,
a little
Bell,
bit.
he was dead. He was dead. In the grave.
But he was still like collecting his powers from the sun
but we don't know how long it would have taken him to resurrect on his own.
That's true. Yes,
the mother box was
that.
a jump start for him.
Yes, it was.
A good point.
It could have taken him like 5 years to resurrect fully from the grave.
Yeah. Kind of like Jesus.
But we know based off of seeing the dirt rise that
3
he
days,
would have
actually,
eventually rose again.
Because he's Superman, and that's what he does.
I'm just saying, they cut him off so early. Nobody's gonna want to see that shit happen again. That's all I'm saying. Trying to say
So with what I was gonna say was that
I'll be back, guys. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Oh,
I think they killed him off too early. Albeit the second movie. I know Zack Snyder had a 5-film arc. It was supposed to be kind of like a saga, not necessarily an extended, just continual universe. But I think more, and like I kind of take Nando. I like Nando to view movies and his kind of rewrites on things. And then what he proposed was having, instead of Doomsday, it would be Bizarro, which greater serves the story of BVS and the kind of xenophobic nature the Earth had against Superman. And
that's a hell of an idea, dude. Bizarro would have been so good,
as well as paying off Batman's preparation and giving him more of an opportunity to show his true colors and his true ability in the final fight. He's not just fighting an unstoppable. He's not just trying to do something to an unstoppable force, which he ends up doing nothing. He just ends up running away and dodging, Doomsday's punches and laser beams. You know what I mean? Like Batman believed that he was going to fight a Kryptonian who's going to burn down the whole world. You know what I mean? And he prepared for that intensely. And with the fight, like with Bizarro, he's perfectly in the position to win that fight. You know, and it's also showing the public of Superman defeating Bizarro. It's showing him that he is to be trusted, and it's kind of given that it's kind of fixing his reputation, like his sacrifice would have done, but in a better way, because you're showing who Superman is by showing what he isn't. He isn't this twisted, monstrous version of himself. He isn't a murderous psychopath.
But Doomsday has the same significance, though, with it.
Yeah, but also you bring in the death of Superman, but then people keep on saying it's not the real Doomsday. That doesn't go hand in hand. If it's not the real Doomsday, he shouldn't die to it.
And something with that, they're never gonna have the chance to do it again. The death of Superman, since that wasn't Doomsday. So
yeah, so if that's a fake Doomsday, he shouldn't die to it. But that's my general thing. I don't think Doomsday is the greatest, or like what wasn't the best choice. Is it a decent choice? Yeah, I liked seeing the Doomsday fight. It had beautiful CGI and beautiful cinematic moments, and I wish. And I do have some spicy takes for Snyder Cut. I love the Snyder Cut so much, but I think we're after that point of celebrating it, and now we could think of it more analytically. That like there were some things. Yeah, I have a few spicy takes, but I think Bizarro would have served the story much better.
I would jump in with the death of Superman being important for Batman's arc, because Batman's the one calling him, "You're not brave. Men are brave." And what are men? Men, we're mortal. We could die, right? So seeing Superman die in battle, it's kind of like the tragic wish. Like originally, Batman went in to kill Superman. Then he had a revelation, change of heart, but at the end of the night, he gets what he originally wished, but he finds out too late that that's not what he wanted, and that's profound enough to set Batman on this trail. And one thing I like about Snyder, he gives a lot of love to Superman. In The Dark Knight Returns, Frank Miller, I think Superman was in the wrong and Batman was more headstrong in the right. But then in BVS, it's the opposite. So in the comics, Batman made a passing remark, probably to hurt Superman or something. He says, "The only time you've been inspirational is when you were dead." Now in BVS, he was that inspirational, but to Batman, but not in a negative context jab. And I know they're brothers fight, blah, blah. But he was actually inspired by Superman, which was, I think, the greatest point, So I think it worked out poetically, which is, Snyder is one of those visual artists. Like, his films are poetic. It's not just like, hey, get the bad guy and have a joke. It's not like that shit. It's like he really wants to take it on some operatic, something that you could walk away with and talk about forever. Like, we have Marvel people watching Marvel films and thinking about our stuff. When I watch a DC film, I don't even think about Marvel. I think the closest thing that comes to my mind when I watch DC outside of DC is probably maybe G.I. Joe and Ninja Turtles. Marvel's probably the fourth thing I think about, if I do. But yeah, that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah. I mean, I have to agree with all the people about the death of Superman in the defense. I mean, I can agree that the death of Superman has more impact, like within the story that Snyder was telling, despite like what the audience's reaction saying, "Oh, you killed off Superman in the second film," and just before they had their epic team up, which he is one of the main members. I mean, with more context, that really actually just helps the plot. And then that is,
he did. That proved himself, sacrificing himself, that he was for the people. I get it, but I'm just saying I do have a problem with him dying, but it made sense why he died. Now
I don't want him to die. That's
Nobody wants Superman to die. Even I don't want him to fucking die. But I'm just saying, I think the significance of his death is extremely impactful, and
it didn't do soon, though. Moving forward, to do it again.
But it also fits the archetype of what a hero goes through physical or mental death and rebirth. And for him, it was that physical and mental death that he had to experience.
It won't have any meaning though, because if it happens again, people would just say, "Oh no, he'll just get resurrected again." It doesn't matter.
Well, he's not going to die again. His death was meant to be by the hands of General Zod's abomination. It completes the arc as well from Man of Steel. Zod said, "I will find him, and he will die," and he died the same way his father died.
I see.
Because there's a genetic coding, because still that's Zod in there. Like, in the.
Oh yeah,
genetic-
you can tell Zod.
Yeah, there's some
Zod-
memory,
there's
muscle
some
memory, and all
Zod
that stuff.
resemblance.
Yeah, because
there.
the Doomsday creature is working off his neural path, so it's probably definitely tapping into some memories there. That's why he's able to move around and identify who's a threat, who's an enemy. So yeah, because in Krypton they're trying to make more Doomsdays.
Of course, there's one thing that I don't necessarily get from BVS and Justice League. In BVS, after the death of Superman, it was established that not only Superman died, but also Clark Kent, his alter ego. And the end of Zack Snyder's Justice League, he actually still has his casual clothes back, like if he's still working for the Daily Planet.
Yeah, I don't know how that's gonna work.
I don't get it. Did they just reestablish that Clark Kent wasn't dead, or was he taking a different job?
Well, you know, I wouldn't think about that too much because, like, I think because that was not an end credit scene, but it was a part of the epilogue, which we're not meant to see the whole thing, because like if we're getting into the nuances of how does Clark Kent come back, or if he even does come back, is Kal-El even posing as Clark Kent anymore, or using that identity?
I got an answer for that.
Martian Manhunter.
No, my answer is like, Clark Kent came back. He's got to get a new job, and he's all walking like this. It's like, all right, I'm gonna work at Collider. Collider?
Yeah.
No, fuck this shit.
Yeah, Collider. One of those guys that said that the Snyder Cut does not exist. For some reason, I don't even know why. I don't even know why the Snyder Cut doesn't exist, because it doesn't finish. Makes it a valid point. Like,
that's their excuse.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
It's like just because a movie isn't finished doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Existence is existence. I don't understand why is that mindset. Like, they would have been acting a little bit more intelligent if they would just said, well, there is a cut. It's just the point is that it's unfinished. But I don't understand how it validates their point. Like,
it doesn't. It's an excuse. Don't worry about it.
Before people just wanted to see what he had. They weren't really thinking that they were gonna, reshoot stuff and add stuff in. But like people didn't care about the unfinished CGI or anything like that.
No, some people didn't want him to shine too. A lot of people don't want Snyder to shine. So let's say
they did not want this movie released at all. And it's not just WB, it's critics and people that said it didn't exist this whole time. They did not want it to come out because it ruins their credibility, because they're the ones that have been saying the movie doesn't exist. There is no Snyder Cut. Those were the words that were used throughout this entire thing. So that's why they sound like that's why they sound like they're fighting over like abortion rights, because they're like, well, it didn't come out, so it doesn't exist. Doesn't mean it wasn't made. It's like, what, you guys were saying that before. It's like I think they're just making excuses to validate their wrongness instead of saying, yo, we were wrong.
Yeah, but also with the 2017 version, they should have noticed that there was a behind the scenes footage of Zack Snyder actually shooting some scenes. Like that didn't really exist.
Semantics. It's just semantics.
I think we're getting off topic.
Yeah, we
become a whole other convo we're having here.
But
what was the topic?
It's just semantics.
The topic was Superman dying off in BVS and how it was a great idea or a terrible one. For me personally, I just didn't sit right with me that he actually did inspire Batman before he died, and that they still needed to kill him, and that it just was so soon in the film franchise. It seemed like something they ran to when they could have taken their time. I think that they could have maybe did it a little better at the beginning of Justice League and then brought him back by the end of it, because the movie was long enough to do that story arc in it. You know what I mean? I think without having to rush it into BVS, and they could actually had Superman and Batman hash their shit out before they did the whole Superman death rebirth thing. I think it could have. But I mean, like what you guys have pointed out to me since I've met you is this BVS was studio interference, the movie, basically. The whole thing was mandated and all kinds of shit shoved into it.
Justice League is the studio interference.
BVS was pretty much, from what I understand, at the beginning of it, Zack just wanted to make another Superman movie, and they came to him and like, nope, Batman's in it, and now Wonder Woman's in it too.
But Zack was the one who specifically wanted to put Batman into the film, though. He's the one who came up with the idea of including Batman back in 2013.
Thank God he did.
The universe is still rushed. That's all. We can all agree on that. The universe is still rushed.
I still think that.
Yes, it was.
I still think that if the movie was, it should have been about Batman and Superman.
It ended up working out because of Zack Snyder's Justice League, but it was rushed. They wanted to compete
No.
with Marvel. Everybody knows
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
I disagree.
the Snyder
Yes,
Cut
they
came
did.
out
To
Yes,
be
as
fair,
they did.
though, you can't compare a 2-movie universe to a freaking 10 deep, 12 deep movie
That's
universe.
it though. They wanted
It
to
was
rush
only
to
meant to
see
be a
money. They
5
were
film
not
arc.
fair.
It's not a 22
Don't
film
compare.
series.
And I'll say that was the executives.
Justin.
That's what they were thinking, not Zack Snyder or anything like that. But
It
that
was
the
what Zach
interference. They
wanted. He
that
wanted a
Marvel
5-part
money.
arc. This isn't the studio talking. This is Zach we're talking about. He wanted a 5-part saga.
I got a question that
Let's
that's
rush
directly
universe.
related.
That's all I'm
I'm
saying.
gonna go
That's
make
all
my
it is. It's a
barbecue
rush.
chicken pizza real quick. I'll be back.
Ooh.
I-
Okay.
Fire.
I got a question that's directly related to this. So so I know Zach wanted a 5-film arc with some various like approved interconnected kind of spin-offs, which would be Suicide Squad and Aquaman and Wonder Woman.
Cyborg, Shazam, Adam,
yeah. I don't know
Green
about
Lantern
Shazam.
Corps.
Yeah. And then we have MCU, which is all by committee. Kevin Feige being the head of it. And now I like the MCU because we're talking about universes again. I know we're I want to kind of bring it back to the universes. I like the MCU. I love the interconnectivity and the constant building off of other properties and other previous works, and one work affecting the other. Like when I wish it was done a little better with like the Netflix shows, but these smaller street time heroes are affected by what happens in the Avengers movies and stuff like that. Like the incident, we're lowering housing prices in New York, so people are taking up these damaged houses and renovating, blah 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 blah, and people selling DVDs of the Battle of New York and like making money off of them. Of course, I wish they used their real names. I hate when they say the big green dude or the old dude with the shield. That's terrible.
Yeah, that's really dumb. I never liked that whatsoever.
And Tony Stark is literally like the most famous man on earth. He's like Donald Trump. Everybody knows his name. You could say Tony Stark, which is only like dropped once in like Luke Cage.
No, but then RDJ would want to get like 55 million just for mentioning his name.
Yeah,
They are paying him a lot of money.
Yeah, his cocaine ain't cheap.
Because I think it's possible. But here's the question: do you think we can get the level of complexity?
There you go.
And deep kind of philosophical topics and discussions and thoughts processes and stuff like that, like in the Snyderverse with the interconnectivity and the kind of branching off kind of universe of the MCU. Because I think it's possible. I think there's a happy middle ground.
I think it's already happening.
If they actually
there's all
tried,
kinds of
it can be
podcasts
done.
that people do.
I mean,
that all the
Carlos.
time. They're like, you just have to find fans of it that are like want to talk about it in a positive way,
Look at Falcon
and it'll
Winter
happen.
Soldier. That's already exploring very topical stuff going on right now.
I can agree with you on that, Carlos. I mean, Marvel's idea for having an interconnected universe is pretty much popularized the idea of like interconnected universes, which is something that has never been thought about in cinema. And when DC tried to do it, and ever since like the flop of the 2017 Justice League film, there were reports of WB saying that they're going to do self-contained films like with the Batman 89 or something, which isn't really doing anything new. It's just going back to their old ways, which kind of defeated the purpose of why they started the universe in the first place. And also, like when I was watching Aquaman, I was expecting like to see like Black Manta getting saved by Lex Luthor and recruiting him to like the Legion of Doom to set up like his story arc. Back then, I wanted to see that. Yeah, that would be cool. And also, like hiring, what was the name of the villain in Shazam? I forgot the name.
Savannah and the caterpillar.
Breaking Lex Luthor out. Yeah, but instead we got Plankton. Like for some reason, I don't even know why. I mean, I know why, but it was a missed opportunity. I mean, heck, Shazam really had like references to the DCU, but it never really mentioned specific stuff like Silent Stone's death or like how Steppenwolf was killed. I mean, I know a lot of people are going to say about like the Superman suit, but I would just like to think in my headcanon that Superman just kind of like switched suits. But I digress entirely.
I don't know, maybe it's easier.
And plus, Shazam
connected like that.
I mean, plus Shazam was in the original slot. It was in the original lineup, and also Shazam does have the power of the old gods, much like the old gods were involved with the history lesson. So, I mean, I guess he has some involvement. I don't know. I kind of like to theorize on this stuff.
Well, I remember like David Sandberg was like, "Oh, I didn't work with them. I didn't closely work with like Zach and like trying to like fit this in the Snyderverse and stuff like that. You know, I remember him saying something like that. He said he was just doing his own thing, and DC offered him to do his own thing. But like what I'm saying is that at least with the cohesiveness of all these multiple projects, I prefer the MCU. Okay. But like DCU always brings us back in, always makes us super passionate, and you know, that's why I love that too.
Yeah.
Wild card.
Definitely the wild card indeed. Oh boy. Like
okay. Also playing devil's advocate, I cannot defend Fat Thor for the life of me. Does anybody have a good defense for Fat Thor in the Marvel universe?
You know what?
I see the movie. I will. Plain and simple.
I mean, it's not the problem that it's
doesn't
the
make
problem.
sense.
I mean, yeah, it doesn't really make sense. I mean, the way how I would like portray Thor in Endgame is like I would have him like gain a little weight, but I wouldn't be as like a drunken comedic douchebag. Like he would actually have depression, like just sitting there instead of just
makes
calling
sense.
people
Depression.
Fortnite. And yeah, depression, actual depression, not like a jokey depression where he looks like a Chad. No, actual depression. Like he seriously cannot get over it. Like he's just
the only time of depression that like at least was very apparent to me is like when he was like, "Don't say that name," but even then that was kind of like not so deep. And then the other time is when he's recalling like what he knows about the ether, and he's like, "Oh, she dumped me and I lost everybody," and then that was played for jokes. Everybody's just looking at him and they're just like, "Oh, brother, this guy," you know. And it's like,
I think for me, the thing about Fat Thor is that you can have it work with Thor being depressed and like feeling he's unworthy of himself.
Exactly.
But don't play it up for jokes and make him like a fucking big Lebowski ripoff in a sweater and shit. Like
exactly.
If you're gonna do something serious with him going through depression and denial of his own existence, please do not play it as a joke, because like it completely takes away from like any emotional like drive it'll have when you actually try to do something with him. Like him not playing like Fortnite with his buddies on his couch, eating ice cream and drinking beers. Also, God shouldn't get fat. That makes absolutely no sense. Come on.
Straight up.
Exactly. It's set in a world where the Avengers actually lost. It's set in a world of Endgame is set in a period of time where the Avengers actually lost and 50% of the population is gone, and it's a depressing time. People are like still just trying to heal, and nobody is gonna actually have Hulk dabbing to some fans that he casually meets on the street.
And I'm glad you brought that up. I could probably defend Fat Thor, and I could probably accept it, but I cannot whatsoever.
Yeah, dabbing Thor is worse. Thank you for bringing that up.
I hate the Russos. Why won't the Russos call him by his proper name? His name is Professor Hulk. His name is not Smart Hulk, okay? That's such a dumbed down version of saying that.
The Russos are retarded.
He has the brain of Bruce Banner. He's smart. I guess he's smart. He's freaking Smart Hulk. He's a professor. He got a PhD for a reason. He has 7.
Yeah. Oh my God. The way how they could have introduced Smart Hulk in the Avengers Endgame is if like he would be taking a university, like just teaching the class or something, and then they come in and just ask Hulk for help instead of just meeting in a diner with pancakes and shit.
That's like his name.
Any man who wants to see Hulk in a cardigan is a man to question. Okay.
Yeah. And you know what? I saw a Reddit post about how to fix this, and I kind of address this in my YouTube channel. Please subscribe.
Yes.
Like I think a better way to have his story, which was totally unforgivable because they just glossed right over it. Just said, well, the personalities are merged 18 months later, or whatever, or 18 months from the beginning, or that time in Endgame. You know, he merged with the Hulk, and you know he's all good now. You know, Dab, listen to your mom; she knows better. You know,
so why? Yeah, so maybe your mom is dead from like the blip. Like
which is another stupid name. The blip, really?
Like, yeah, the blip. I agree.
The
dude.
blip.
Like,
that's what we're going to be treating the world's most like severe thing that ever happened to them. A fucking blip.
Isn't the?
I mean, heck, the Russos.
You remember the blip? I remember the blip.
I feel like the Russo brothers.
Everybody told you back in the day. What the fuck? Hold on. Shit. I didn't mean it to.
Oh, she was on the phone. That was my bell.
I mean, what I was like,
I thought the snap was everybody dusting, and the blip was everybody coming back. Isn't that how it was?
Well, they're both bad names, then. Dude, like they have 2 bad names for both.
If they went with bloop, I would like that better. Bloop
with what?
with the
No
bloop.
bloop.
That's
No.
even worse.
If you call disintegrating
Exactly.
attack.
So anyway, what they did with Hulk was absolute trash, and they kept on saying before during Infinity War, before Endgame, they were like, oh yeah, so like there's like some legal issues, or freaking who owns Hulk? Universal. Universal was like, oh, we can't. They don't want to make it. We're not going to license another solo movie. All right, so it's like, oh, but you can use them in the group movies. Okay, so we're gonna use them in Thor Ragnarok. We're gonna use them in Infinity War and Endgame. All right, and then that'll be in those 3 movies. He'll go through an arc. Okay, makes sense. Okay, so what do we have in Ragnarok? He's on top of the world. Everybody loves him. The world rejected Hulk, but Sakaar loves the Hulk. And now Sakaar is trashed, and they left, and Asgard is done. Okay, Infinity War. Hulk gets bodied, just absolutely trashed by Thanos. All right, he's at the lowest of low. He doesn't trust himself, and Banner is always relying on him just to get him out of sticky situations. Okay, like the Hulk is not treated like a normal human being. The Hulk is, the Hulk is a separate personality, a separate sentience, a separate intelligence. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So now,
I'm sorry. The thing about Professor Hulk is that I usually kind of see it like this. Like Professor Hulk actually has the mind of Bruce Banner, but yet has the brawn of like the Hulk body.
Well, yeah, but what it's supposed to be, the complete synergy. That like it's instead of having one person on the wheel and then one person in the trunk, or just completely throwing one person out and neglecting them. You know what I mean? It's both drivers working together in harmony. You know what I mean? And of course, it's hard to get that with a rational person like Bruce Banner and an irrational being like the Hulk. You know what I mean? So it's Teal. So they were working on that, and Infinity War it was rock bottom. Banner only wanted to rely on Hulk for the bronze, and the Hulk was like, you know what? I don't care anymore. Screw this. I got bodied, all right, and all you care about is you don't even care about me. You just want me to get you out of the sticky situation. You know what, Banner? Solve your own damn problems. And he did. He killed Call Obsidian. So now in Endgame, we just skip all that development, and then when the time jump happens, it's just I'm good. Dab. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
I feel like
What's up, Eddie?
Okay. What they should have done. Bottom line. Let me just clear it up. What they should have done was they should have continued his hesitation, the Hulk's hesitation, and actually the Banner's complete rejection of the Hulk. He's like, okay, fine, you big green asshole. I'll do it myself. I'll literally do it myself forever now. Forget you, Hulk. And then Banner, with like type of Tony Stark or something, during the 5-year period, should have made
Sorry, guys, I'll be right back.
Okay.
So Banner should have made a containment suit, and there is precedent of this in the comic where it literally suppresses the gamma radiation within him, and that the Hulk couldn't come out even if he wanted to. And then he would keep on going through this and try to solve the time heists, problems and stuff like that by himself until he realizes at the end battle when Thanos comes back to the future and is gonna wreck the world and shred the universe to atoms, that Banner's like, you know what, Hulk, I know I treat you wrong, and I know I have treated you like a tool, but you're not a tool, you're your own person. But this is your world and this is my world, and we live both together in it, and we need to find a way to work together. I'm trusting you in this. Can you do this for me, Hulk? Serious? And can you do this for the honor of Natasha? Can you do this for the honor of your friends and family? And and then the Hulk's like, yes. And then he turns off the suppression suit, and then he goes full, freaking World Breaker Hulk. He's fueled by the rage of 5 years of being suppressed, okay? And rivals the Power Stone and takes over the position that Captain Marvel took over. The Hulk's not flinching. The only way that, Thanos could like end the Hulk is not with raw power, it's with something else. So he probably uses like the Mind Stone and splits the personalities. Oh my god, it would have been so good. And I'm so mad at the Russos.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, do you think that the Russos' humor in Endgame is that much different from Whedon's humor back when, like, in Avengers 1 and 2?
It's very similar.
If we're gonna rate Whedon's humor, rate Whedon's humor, it's like a negative 155. The Russos is about like a 4.5, possibly a 5 out of 10.
Whedon just wants to just objectify women, all right, and have someone fall on a chest. Okay, that's all Whedon wants to do.
Oh, you forgot shooting from the booty instead of over the shoulder. He's like, no, we'll make Justice League better from the booty.
Yeah, as much as Whedon wants to hate on Gal, he sure likes showing those cheeks of hers. Like he's obsessed.
He is.
Not to mention they joke about Captain America's ass in Avengers Endgame. So yeah,
they do.
Both of them are really
America's
yeah.
ass. They're not completely
That's America's ass.
devoid of that.
He was hitting the squat rack. What do you want him to do? Gotta show it off somehow.
I'm just saying that universe is what they're used to. That's it.
That's just
and Eddie looking at it logically, right, Eddie?
Talk about when DC tried it, they failed. So I'm saying they want it from a specific source. That's all. And like I'm saying, the Marvel audience already used.
Well, you know,
wait. People don't like ass shots in DC movies. I'm pretty sure people like the butt shots in DC movies, Eddie. I'm pretty sure that goes across the board. That's not a Marvel thing. That can't be true.
No, I think it's a Joss Whedon thing. To be honest with you,
there's got to be butt shots in a.
If you like butt shots, then watch Teen Titans Go because it has a lot of butt shots. I'll tell you that.
Need to know. I actually haven't seen that. That's actually one of the few DC animateds I haven't watched yet. So I've been missing out on the cartoon booties. Like
Snyder will give you the man, but
just don't watch it. It's a disrespect to the original cartoon. They poke fun of it like if it's just a joke, or like if they're paranoid by it. It's just disrespectful, actually.
I don't mess with Go. Teen Titans Go, the comic book was good. I don't know about Teen Titans Go. I mean, it was funny for a minute. Remember when they did DC shorts in between all the shows? That's
like
where Teen Titans Go came from, you know?
Wonder Woman and Justice League.
Oh, really? Actually, no, that was New Teen Titans. But it's like Teen Titans Go, but except it's from the original Teen Titans, and it's pretty short, and it's not that obnoxious. It's just little shorts, not like 10-minute episodes.
Yeah, those are good, because I was like, I got the humor, but then, I don't know, it seems like someone will joke 20 times. Lose after the third.
Yeah.
Guys, something about Justice League. Look, I do believe this is a hot take.
Which one, Justice League or Snyder?
Justice League. I mean, you can say Justice League because obviously, I can say Zack Snyder's Justice League if I want to. But when it comes to Justice League, I do believe in. Lots of people have said that because obviously he was thrown in when with the movie was already almost completed, done. So obviously he had to do all that bullshit. That doesn't excuse his behavior. He took out a lot of bad shit. But in my opinion, if he would have did it from the start, it would have been a good movie. I think.
Okay, and guys, K-Dots, I wanted to give you a proper introduction, man. You haven't had a chance to speak.
My bad.
Welcome to the panel, man.
You completely overshined him. Introduce yourself.
I just wanted to come on.
Dude, I wanted to give you a brief introduction. I mean, you've never been on one of my streams before, so welcome, man. What's up, man? What's your feelings on all this?
I mean, I can. Well, what opinion? Well, I mean, what topic was you guys?
Anyone you want. Pick anyone you want, man. Your choice. What do you think of all this whole MCU DC thing, man?
Y'all was talking about it. I appreciate the Fat Thor slander. I support Fat Thor. I support it.
Wait, what does that mean? You support Fat Thor slander?
Supports the slander,
support the slander of Fat Thor.
Fat Thor's horrific.
You don't like shit talking Thor. Fat Thor.
Fat Thor, yeah.
I support the slander. I love it. I love hearing it. It was the person on the far left of me who said it. But the one thing I disliked about Fat Thor was how they handled his depression. I didn't like how they handled that, because if they handled it in a way of everyone around him not using him as using him as a chance to make jokes, that's what they all did. Iron Man, Rocket, War Machine, they all used him as a joke. They all laughed about him, made fun of him. If they took it serious, I would have went like, okay, they did this well. I think a later show, WandaVision, probably handled depression better, dealing with depression and all the other stuff, stress but the Russo brothers, they did not handle depression properly in Endgame. I mean, there is people that don't know how to handle depression in the real world and stuff. They don't know how to handle it properly because some people don't understand it. But in Endgame, they did not handle it wisely because they turned into a joke.
I mean, to be fair, they did have to handle depression, and they had to go through the whole roster then because everybody was in a bad shape after what happened with Thanos.
Yeah.
But I also wanted an endgame. I wanted to see the heroes actually like more of that. Like I felt like we only got a taste of it, and then it's like, oh, Thanos is back. Let's go back to saving the world. Like I think maybe it's just me. I wanted to see more of like the world in peril after like we only got like what 8 minutes of it before they found out Thanos was still alive, and they went to go kick his ass on his farm when he was minding his own damn business. Like I don't know. I wanted more. Maybe that's just me though.
Huh.
I mean, we really
you don't see much in New York. You just see them.
Yeah, well, it really always we saw the memorials at San Francisco. I'll say this one thing: I feel bad for people who came back from the snap because SF is screwed. That traffic is about to be crazy. Everybody just popped up. That city is flooded. Nobody's not getting out. I live in SF. Just imagine if the population tripled like it did. You're not getting out the city.
I feel bad for the humpback whales and the Hudson River. They were enjoying their time swimming there. Now they got to go back to the damn ocean. They might want to sightsee the Statue of Liberty. I don't know.
I feel good. I feel happy for Belle enjoying her dinner during all this Marvel talk, because that's exactly what I would do if I was you, Belle.
I was enjoying my dinner listening to the whole thing before.
Well, actually, the one thing I wanted to see, I wanted to see an Endgame how the snap affected other planets. Like I want like a quick montage and stuff, like a montage. A quick montage. That's what I was excited about.
Montage, yes.
Because it felt very it didn't feel like it was a universal problem, even though it was universal. It felt like it was very contained to Earth, like it's something an Earth problem. But if they show like a montage of how it's affecting other planets and stuff, and you see the effects of it, that's what I was really curious about.
Kind of like a depressing version of the end of Special Edition Return of Jedi, where everyone's like, freedom! Now everyone's like, ah!
I mean, they show like flashes like John C. Reilly from Guardians of the Galaxy on his planet. I can see what he's saying. Like some of the other worlds that they've shown in a couple of other films where they've been to space. Like that could have been a neat little thing to do.
Yeah, or
come on, Russo.
When Thanos decimated Xandar, like literally they used to show Xandar in ruins, and then the snap happens, and it's even more in ruins. So yeah, Thanos, you're such a savior. You're such a freaking, like martyr for the cause. Thank you.
What a hypocrite Thanos
thank you for
is, right?
and I know this is like
he's a narcissistic hypocrite.
I know this is off topic, but if Thanos really wanted to reduce overpopulation, there's several smarter ways he could have gone about it than wiping out half the population. He could have literally made half the population sterile, and it would have made.
He could have done that, and we all lose our nuts.
Hey.
You know?
Nobody would be mad. Okay, yeah, but nobody died.
The more logical thing is just making more resources. That's all he should have done.
No, oh my god, don't bring that up. Oh my god, everybody says that. That's impossible. You cannot make more resources because the thing cannot create matter, okay, or destroy matter.
He needs a mother box.
It can only change the relations. It cannot generate new stuff. All right. The universe is in a constant state of entropy. It's like it's losing heat or it's losing energy.
There's something called a reality.
Well, Firewater makes a good point here. Shout out to Firewater. Thanos could have snapped more food onto the planet.
Or I just hate when people say double the resources.
Overpopulate. That doesn't fix the overpopulation issue.
Yeah,
it doesn't fix the overpopulation issue. But he can't just make more resources out of nothing. He doesn't have omnipotence. All right, it's literally he has the power to change the aspects of what is in reality, not what is out reality, and bring it in. He can't make something from nothing. You know what I mean?
Thanos talk is giving me agita.
Right?
Yeah. Like even when he was gonna shred the universe to atoms, he wasn't gonna actually like non-exist, like just delete the universe. He was going to break it down to its simplest components, just simple atoms. So theoretically, he could go to like, oh, this is a junk planet. He could like make the head of nowhere, the head of the dead celestial. Oh, now you're a bunch of seeds or something, and now we can plant it on a planet or something like that. Technically,
the reality stone could have did something.
He probably
not to cut you off, Carlos, but I gotta stop to do a brief intro. Welcome, Firewater, to the panel. What's up, bro?
Good evening. Good evening. How's everyone doing?
Good, man. Good, man. So Thanos could have stolen food from other planets.
Yeah, right. Because he could transport stuff, right? Can't he siphon resources elsewhere?
He could most definitely do that, or change the reality. I don't know if he could
steal it from other times.
I don't know.
The time stone, you could probably take it from other time periods too, right?
The TVA would be all over that joint, bro.
So
Thanos was really just a big jerk. I have to kill half the population. Sorry, guys. Some of you are going to go.
Thanos isn't as smart as he says he is.
Well, if you look at it like this, you have to factor in this. You have to also factor in this. When Thanos snapped his fingers to kill half the pop, the MCU gauntlet is heavily downplayed compared to the comic gauntlet.
Yes,
Thanos snapping his fingers to kill half the population broke the gauntlet. Him snapping, him doing something such as creating more food and stuff is for tons of planets will probably break the gauntlet. Now, what I agree with Carlos. Making people sterile is the best route, or Thanos doing something.
And you guys are just into eugenics, aren't you?
But he could have used the Mind Stone to literally tap into all the minds on the universe and be like, okay, who is the highest IQ? If he was really all right, if you want to do it, you want to do it right, okay?
Straight into eugenics now, man.
I'm sorry.
Resources thing. I'm telling you, he can make even more resources.
No, but you don't need necessarily all the smartest people in the world. You need some people that can actually do labor too.
True.
Literally, all Thanos had to do was just. I'll give an example. When dogs get pregnant, they probably have about probably more than 4 or 5 babies at once. That's a lot of babies. What Thanos should have done was limit for all species to have probably 2 kids at a time. Like they can only genetically have 2 children.
So the China method.
I was about to say that.
Yeah. Oh God. But I gotta be honest.
Not taking away the ability to give birth, but limiting it, because the issue with overpopulation, people keep on having babies. So that's how you fix it. You gotta
and not only that, not everyone gets resources equally distributed.
That's true.
Right?
That's true.
The wealthy
That's true.
are going to buy up everything that they need until they're resource satisfied, and then the non-wealthy can squabble over what's left over.
Yeah.
Which is why we have a big issue with supply chain right now. In America,
I'm just not with the argument. I'm not. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
It's okay. But I gotta be honest, the reason why Thanos wants to erase 50% of the population in the Infinity War movie was a little bit more, it actually makes more sense than in the comics, because all he just wants to do, erase 50%, is just to impress Lady. It's just ridiculous.
Infinity Gauntlet comic is terrible. Yeah, it really
maybe he's in a different level. Maybe he's like, man, it's been 10,000 years. I ain't never gotten laid.
That's a massive gold streak.
Comic motivation. Keep it simple.
What they tried to do, frustration.
What they tried to do, they tried to be complex, and it didn't hit. Like there's a reason they did that, because Thanos' motivation in the comic, he wants to do it for a girl. I mean, shoot, people call him a simp. I mean, I'm a simp too.
Yeah, that's a simp.
I would have heard that, because you just keep it simple. Because what they tried to do, and if you look at Endgame, this is the funny thing about Endgame. 2014 Thanos looked at 2018 Thanos' plan, was like, damn, this plan is retarded. I gotta
like. He was like, that's my destiny right there. That's destiny fulfilled. No, he saw 2018 Thanos and was like, yeah, I'm with that.
I mean, he was proud of him. He was proud, like.
No, but then he was like, then afterwards, when he came back to the Back to the Future, God, he was like, oh, you guys are ungrateful for what I've done. That's it. I'm gonna shred everything now. That was his reasoning.
That was a solid speech right there. I like that. That was a solid speech.
That's all.
Thanos just monologues. He talks all this shit. He just monologues constantly.
Yeah. He just monologues about.
Thanos is definitely the weakest of the 2 characters when you compare Thanos side by side with Darkseid. Obviously, I mean, Darkseid would kill Thanos.
I'm just saying,
immediate.
I'll take that back. I'll take that.
What he can do out the Omega beams. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
it's funny. Darkseid's more
Thanos
pure
has
evil,
hands,
but he's a much more
say.
fascinating character than Thanos.
And he's a lot smarter than Thanos too.
And he's just cooler.
Nintendo Power Glove with little rhinestones.
He can even solve the anti-life equation. I don't
Also,
even
let's
know
not forget,
how
Darkseid completes his mission in the first act of Justice League 2. What does it take Thanos the whole movie in Infinity War?
And you know what's funny? How come these
won.
Marvel movies? This is why I really wish Ashley was still on the panel, because I want to ask her, how come these Marvel movies didn't include Lady Death? Lady Death was so important to Thanos in the original comic book storylines. He did everything for Lady Death. That was his whole motivation. You had Silver Surfer, you had Adam Warlock, you had all these characters that never even got introduced into this big Infinity Gauntlet storyline. If you're going to do that storyline, include all the characters.
A few things. First of all, Silver
I'll step in and I'll say this.
Silver is technically a Fantastic Four character. I mean, and he was owned by Fox, so technically they couldn't do that. Second of all, the reason why I don't think they added Lady Death is because of our point earlier. The reason for Thanos' motivation in the comics is just ridiculous, so they decided to remove Lady Death entirely so that he can have a different motivation to have him as an actual character. And that actually did kind of work for this movie and for his motivation. I mean, it actually does feel like a real motivation compared to just him impressing a woman, which is just plain ridiculousness. Let's just be honest.
What were you gonna say,
a woman every now and then, you know what I'm saying?
What were you gonna say?
Well, I mean, he
Infinity
pretty
War
much said my point about the Infinity. This thing about Infinity War, right? They replaced Silver Surfer with Hulk. They had to do a lot of replacements, right? Now, Adam Warlock, I'll give you this. Adam Warlock was always there. They just failed to introduce him at the right moment. They're going to introduce him, but this is my issue. They're going to introduce him. They should have introduced him in Infinity War. It would have been rushed, but it's he should have been here because he's the keeper of the Soul Stone and the Soul Realm. That's what he should have been there for. But let's be real, because the Infinity Gauntlet story, yes, was that a Fantastic Four, all these other characters. The Fantastic Four in them, they didn't have those characters, but it could have been. I mean,
but they did have.
If I had to rewrite Infinity, if I had to rewrite Infinity War, I would have rewritten a whole lot of stuff. And especially me, I'm gonna say this: my biggest issue with Infinity War, I like the movie, but my biggest issue was that 14,605,000 bullshit just to make a sequel.
That was some bullshit, wasn't it, man?
Sequel. Oh, you mean the different timelines?
No, yeah.
How many do we
never
come
see
out
the other
on?
timelines?
How many do we come out of? One, right? There's not more than one scenario we win, or maybe get a partial victory. No,
I mean, I thought of I thought of two different ways they can win. I thought of one that was just simple, the one that's very simple, because people have to realize this MCU Thanos, while he is stronger than the MCU Hulk, he's physically stronger. You can still deal damage to him. And my way of how they could have done it, very simple, nothing too complicated. But as we've seen in Infinity War, Doctor Strange can push portals and open them at will, and as we've seen, the portal can cut through skin. Remember when
Cole Obsidian
got his hand cut off. Now this is now this is how I was gonna do it. At the part when they caught Thanos and they was holding him down, you have Iron Man and Spider-Man trying to pull off the glove. All Strange had to do was take a portal, push it up behind them, send them back to New York, and cut it. Thanos and Spider-Man and Iron Man are back in New York or Earth with the gauntlet. They win.
The only thing
I'm not saying the movie should end like that, but there was more than one way to win.
The only thing I would say to that, and I would think the Russos, whenever you talk to I swear, whenever I see Russos talking in Ask Me Anything or anything, they always explain the things so horribly. All right, but here's how I would I would defend their decision in not having that or saying that it's impossible. It's not because his skin is tough. Okay, portals don't have thicknesses. Portals don't have sharpnesses. All right, they're literally displacements within space. Okay. So when it cuts something off, it literally displaces the atoms from the limb and then puts them in another location. Okay, but as we see, when Thanos puts in every stone in his body is enhanced with his power, and he needs to take a moment to gather himself because it's literally changing his physiology with that gauntlet's on him. And by that time, he already had the Space Stone. So, with what I'm thinking is that when his body was inherently changed by the Space Stone, his body was in a sort of different kind of condition where he had complete and utter control of the atoms and the positions of his atoms. Okay, so in that case, it would be totally impossible, because he has the power of space, to spatially remove one part of his body from the other. That's how I would defend it.
Well,
that's how I would defend it.
Saying?
Not freaking his skin is too tough. Russo's, that's such a dumb answer. Russo's, get your stuff together, okay? Get some continuity experts, okay? And please get some people that actually know what they're talking about.
Carlos, I'll say this.
I'll
say this. Cole Obsidian, like, if you had to compare his durability, his strength, and what he is to other characters, would you say he's a pretty tough guy? I'm not saying he's Thanos level, but I just think in general, the portals, if they close, would just cut anybody. Like, if I was in between a portal, half of my body's gonna be on one side, the other side is gonna stay where.
No, I get that. I'm agreeing.
You guys ever played Portal?
But I'm only saying if Thanos didn't have the Space Stone, if he didn't have that gauntlet on him, inherently changing his physiology, okay, then he wouldn't. Then he would have been cut just like anybody else, because it's literally a displacement in space. But because he had the Space Stone, which is inherently changed his body, because he soaked up that energy, his atoms can no longer be separated without his will without his will doing that.
Carlos, this reminds me of some Half-Life Gordon Freeman theoretical physics.
Carlos, I got a question. For you. Okay,
definitely smart.
Okay, I had a question for you. So Thanos had the Infinity Gauntlet with all those stones. Wonder Woman, Maxwell Lord had the Wish Stone. Who had the better stones? I mean, it's
the Wish Stone was so stupid. That MacGuffin was so stupid, and the Wishing Stone God is such a chump.
Now we're on Wonder Woman 84. Oh God!
And choosing
all right,
Jesus.
I fell asleep during that movie. I can't.
Well, we had to inject a little bit of DC into
what
it.
sucks though is if you go into the Sandman comics, the Dreamstone's actually really a scary stone. Like, it's really terrifying what happens in the issues with the Dreamstone in Sandman. So it's kind of crap that, like, yeah, it's got such a bad rep in film already. You know, it could have been such a cool thing.
It's literally a piece of garbage. Okay, it's glass. That's what it is. Oh, and I'll
like the mall scene.
Quick thing with Thanos, I was gonna also say, like, I would also make the same argument if he had the Mind Stone, that he wouldn't be able to be mind controlled or manipulated his mind like what Mantis did. But at that time, he didn't have the Mind Stone. But back on the Dreamstone thing, that was utter garbage, and we should have seen more of the Dreamstone God within that universe. All right, controlling Maxwell or something like that. I had a simple rewrite to put Wonder Woman 1984 into the Snyderverse and make it a little more of an enjoyable movie, which would be to have the Dreamstone God, who is one of the last old gods. All the old gods are dead. Ares is dead. Zeus is dead. All the Greek gods are dead. Okay, so there's a Dreamstone God in 1984. Okay, well, who is going to challenge him? He should easily take over the world. But why would he do that? You know what I mean? Because he heard of Darkseid, and Darkseid, who was posing a threat. Okay, and only him and his army of parademons were going to take over the Earth a few millennia ago. The Dreamstone God should have been an old god who wishes to get in line with the new gods. So he's going to take over the Earth, and then when Darkseid inevitably comes, he's going to offer it as an offering. Hey, Darkseid, I know you're like the most baddest person in all of existence. Please don't murder me. I don't want to die. Here's Earth, and can I please be a new god now? Okay, and then that's what he wanted to do. But movie happens. Wonder Woman 1984 ends. Wonder Woman kills the Dreamstone God, and then the Dreamstone God gives a warning. Hey, you probably shouldn't have done that. Good luck with Darkseid. Peace. So I think that should have happened in Wonder Woman 1984. It's a garbage movie, and I hate it.
I think how I would fix Wonder Woman 1984 in general is that I would just cut out the mall scene so that we could still see like Diana Prince still just being Diana Prince, not Wonder Woman saving people casually. And also, I would make the fight choreography a little bit more epic instead of cheesy. Like I mean, I know it's set in the 80s, but still, it doesn't mean it has to be. The choreography has to be like shit. And also, I guess those are the things that I would change.
I would just kind of cut 10184 where you see the opening, the title, and then the credits.
Yeah, that's the whole movie. Just the opening.
There you go. Yeah,
that's one decent part of it.
Yeah,
That'd be cool.
I mean the decent
Yeah.
part. I mean
Except
the
for
Olympics part
continuity in
wasn't.
that part.
I mean, the Olympics part wasn't necessarily bad. I mean, it was pretty good.
Yeah, I kind of remember that, and then I just remember the Gold Wings fighting the Tiger Girl, and like that's literally all I remember from that film.
Cheetah girl.
That would be a cheetah.
What'd I say?
You know, I feel like Cheetah in the DCU doesn't really fit into the Legion of Doom, in my opinion. I think she fits more into the Suicide Squad because her motivation is just literally, I want to be like Wonder Woman. I want to be powerful. I was always this weak woman, and I just want to be like strong and defend myself. I want to be above people. Well, she's not like I want to take over the world of evil jazz. I mean, it's just my take. Like she could be like a Suicide Squad.
She wants to fuck up Wonder Woman.
Can I just say one thing? Okay, but sorry, Coach.
Oh no, I'm done.
Oh, I was gonna say, can people please put respect on the Injustice League's name? Please put some respect on it. Everybody says Legion of Doom, and I know that's like the most popular and the most modern take.
I come from wrestling,
but the Injustice
Yeah.
League exists. All right, it was the OG. Okay, and I mean like Lex Luthor in the Justice League. You know, if we go by that, he says, "Can we make a league of our own?" If it's a league, it's the Injustice League. It's not the Legion of Doom. All right, the Injustice League exists.
That post-credit scene was pretty good. That post-credit scene was actually pretty good. It makes me actually get hyped for a sequel.
Hey,
Yeah, no,
if
seriously.
if we got the Legion of Doom, we could have had an evil base in the swamp, guys.
I mean, the Legion of Doom was originally in like the storyboards. So yeah, and like
we could have got that evil base in the swamp. That would have been epic.
That'd be cool. And then towards the end
I would
of
have been for it. It's corny,
like,
but I would have been for it. Like the little corniness of it.
Yeah.
In my headcanon, the Injustice League was always the first iteration of like the supervillain team, and then the Legion of Doom kind of developed into that, you know. And like, why call it Legion of Doom? I feel like nobody in it would ever call it that, except for which was like my kind of headcanon, which would be like Brainiac.
I prefer that name over Justice League, to be honest.
When that album drops, it's gonna hit better.
I think Brainiac only likes about calling his team a Legion.
So does that mean in Justice League 2 we get the Legion of Doom headquarters, Super Friend style?
That'd be awesome. Meanwhile, back at the headquarters.
That it'd be Jesse's Lex doing that voice. Meanwhile,
I like to think like, hey Carlos. Speaking of headcanons, I like to think of my headcanon like like certain determinants of stuff. Like in the, I know this is probably going to relate to. The thing about headcanons is that you can actually interpret it as your own story. If it's your story, and if you wrote the script, and it's considered your canon. And for me, I would like to have my personal DCU canon would be a mixture between the DCU movies and the CW shows, like the modern takes, like Arrow and Flash, like just because I kind of feel like during the first seasons, like when I first got into like Arrow and Flash, I've said, wow. This could be like in the DCU. I mean, this is just so modern and stuff, you know.
I really just need to invade WB. All right, we need to do a secret invasion. Okay.
Yeah, don't say that.
All right,
ready the Armada. What are you talking about? We're going in headstrong.
When you say invasion, it makes me think of something else that happened.
I have such nice ideas for these movies and films. I really want to be a writer / director.
Yo,
with these
why say wait? Can I
Carlos wants to be a squirrel and he wants to infiltrate Warner Brothers.
Yes,
that's right.
I'm gonna be Walter Scroll.
Hey, as long as you're not afraid of cats, Carlos, I'm down with it, bro.
bro. Why say want to?
If you're afraid of cats, you can't be a squirrel. If you're afraid of cats, you cannot be a squirrel. That's my only thing.
Oh,
yo, if you're saying you want to be a writer director, why don't you just do it, bro?
Yeah, do it.
Well, don't say want to. You have great ideas. You have the
I want to try.
Just do it.
I want to try.
Carlos, follow your bliss.
He wants you to do it.
Follow what you love.
Yeah, Eddie.
Don't let your dreams be dreams.
Don't be obligated by others. Do your free will.
See, Eddie is doing this so you can push the button and then go to your future.
The button of success.
For who? Button of success for who?
Yeah, I'd love to try. Like, I'm just like I feel like I'm.
I don't even feel like a full-on adult. You know, like I'm 19, and yeah, I'm technically.
You're not.
You see what I'm wearing? Do you think I am? I'm 41.
I feel like just like a pseudo adult.
I didn't
have no
turn into an adult until I was 26 and then moved out of my house.
So
like I bought my first place.
I have no real experience in like writing and filmmaking. You know, these are just ideas, and I kind of like jot them down.
Get experience,
but you know, funny enough,
dude, I follow the same thing as you.
Shia LaBeouf said, man, just do it.
Carlos, I follow the same thing as you, man. I want to pursue in filmmaking.
Dude, I gotta be honest.
I have no experience. I'm in film school right now, and I'm just
I'm
writing
actually
the ideas
writing
that I have.
some parody scripts. Like, heck, I'm actually doing a script of my retelling of the DCU Justice League movie in general, with a mixture between the 2017 cut and the Zack Snyder cut.
Yeah,
just saying.
Yeah, so like I like, funny enough, I actually bought a camera on eBay and like a whole SD card and kit and all that. It's like a Nikon D3100 or something. So, yeah, that's exactly what it is. So I'm gonna start doing it, and like I had this idea for a YouTube channel with like all these scripts that are just implanted in my head and all these ideas. I want to put them out somewhere. So like I was thinking,
answer your own question, man. Just do it, man. I'll watch it. I'll watch everything. I'll support you.
Yeah, so I started that like 9 months ago and never went back to it. But yeah.
I'm with you, Carlos. I have a lot of stuff in my head that I want to do videos about. Like I want to do like some topic videos and commentary videos of certain theories and talk about shows. I mean, heck, I even talked about my first impressions of Batwoman season 2, episode 1, and my problems with it. And I'm planning to make like a second video, sort of like my little update when season 2 is done and how I feel about it. Like my impressions of the entire season as a whole. Just to get a full grasp of it. Just saying.
Yeah, but yeah, we'll see what happens.
Do whatever your heart tells you to do.
Kuzi, don't boycott WB when I work there, please.
Yeah.
When
Why do you want to work for Warner Brothers? Dude, don't work there.
You don't want to work there.
I wanted to work there too, but
No, work for Warner Brothers. You need to become a smooth, relaxing cigarette and kill them from the inside out.
Jesus.
That's how you do it.
Oh, yeah.
That's some deception shit right
Work your way
there.
to the top as an executive
Produce
producer.
and infiltrate.
Dude, just go to Paramount or Universal or something.
Oh, wait, here's something better. Work your way to the top as an executive producer and actually being a good executive producer for once in your life with all the comic book knowledge in your head.
Bro, I think you should be. He should be the writer director, and then you become the producer, huh?
And then tell them every idea you have will make them lots of money.
Thank you.
And then that's how you get your stuff
And
made.
Eddie will tell you when you guys are messing up. Where are you?
Yeah, Eddie's the HR manager.
Eddie will let you know what's up.
Like I said,
What the hell is my role?
I like shitting on them too.
We got this.
I'm infiltrating as we speak right now.
So wait, what's the deal with
Mel will
Zach
approve.
now and Warner? Is that done?
I would be if I was him. I mean,
So they
I
did
think he's
treat
a
him
fool
like
to go
garbage.
back to it. I would never go back and work for a company that treated me like that, to tell you the truth. I mean,
Well, what if they had new? Let's say that you worked for a restaurant. The old owners was a DB, but then it got bought out, and there were new owners, and they liked you because you knew kind of like the stuff about the restaurant. Would that change your mind?
yeah, of course. That's completely different circumstance. But I think if they try to
Well, I
hire
mean
him
that's
back
what's happened.
now,
Discovery is
yeah.
going to clean house. I mean, why would they keep the same failing executives in?
No, I don't
You know,
think Zach is done
because if they
necessarily.
were successful, they wouldn't have sold or merged or whatever it was.
I don't
they
think
would've
Zach
been-
is necessarily done with WB. He's done with the executives there. But if
Yeah.
new people come in who actually appreciate like his
Yeah.
worth and what he brings to the table,
Are
then
those
He'll be
views-
perfectly. He'll come
Discovery
back.
people?
He will.
Are those numbers like the stream numbers legit for? Because I saw the infographic. I don't know.
I believe them. I mean,
Do we have sources on that? I mean, they
Yeah.
look credible. They
Yeah,
look
they're
credible.
legit. And there's
It's
also
kinda- it's
Firewater, the Snyder Cut Blu-ray is #1 worldwide. Everywhere
can I
it's
buy
being
that?
sold.
Now?
Yeah, you can
Oh,
buy it.
yeah.
You can
Oh,
buy it
buy it
in.
right
You can
now.
buy it at You can buy it at Amazon UK. You can't buy it in the United
Oh, it's
States.
not America. Yeah, I was going to hit up Best Buy.
Yeah, you got to import.
I'm
They
not doing
used
that.
to
I'll
sell
wait
it
for it
on
to come
Amazon
back.
in America as an import.
It's region. It's a region
No,
free. It's a region free deal. So it's not like you won't be able to play it if you import it. It's-
Well, that's the thing, though. I'm going to wind up probably giving it away and just
Yeah.
keep the digital code because I actually, believe it or not, I
Oh,
don't.
yeah, there is
I
no-
don't have a Blu-ray player.
It doesn't come with it doesn't come with a digital code.
Yeah, they're gonna want you to go on HBO and rent
that
it.
Sucks for me.
Yeah,
that sucks for me. Okay. Yeah, right. Well, there goes that.
Wait, you could get a disc reader.
Yeah, you can always.
I mean, I can buy one. Yeah, I'm not gonna. I'll buy it.
It's like this. If you're a deep film fan, you should own a region-free Blu-ray player.
I agree. I used to. We're just trying to simplify our life. I buy everything digitally,
I got
which
a Blu-ray
I'm beginning
player
to
and
think
a
is maybe a
4K.
mistake, but that's what we're doing.
I bought a 4K just for the BVS remaster.
Digital is the way.
But back to Zach, yeah, I think if they approach him and they come at him with a sweet deal with new people that believe in him, yeah, definitely go back. But if it's the way it is now and they just, for some reason, throw him scraps and let him come back, which is the only thing that how they would act like towards him anyways, which would be just disgusting. So I don't think that he has a reason to ever go back to work for him at this point with the company. But if Discovery does indeed change at all, that might be a
why would
different
they
tune,
keep the current roster of executives? I don't understand, because they have to defend failure with the Snyder Cut. They have to.
It
they have
depends
to
on how
defend
well
failure.
the rest of their roster did. I mean, because at the end of the day, it's an executive thing. It's not a fan-based thing. The people that are auditing these workers aren't going to be just thinking about how they did Zach. You know what I mean? These people are looking at like how much did Kong make and like all those other
Mortal
Mortal
Kombat,
Kombat and all that crap. Yeah, so that all is going to have to come into play. And I think maybe some of these guys might keep their jobs just on that, because as bad as some of those films I just mentioned were, they sold because of the plague. You know what I mean? Everybody was renting that shit.
That's true. But I mean, I know a lot of filmmakers were upset that, oh yeah, by the way, here's a real knee slapper for you. We're going to do theater and home at the same time. You're going to love that, Christopher Nolan. What do you think? Now? Oh, wait, you got an army of directors that's going to quit now.
Yeah, that's going to be the worst thing that comes out for Warner Brothers when Nolan officially announces that he's gone and done with them. Oh, that's going to be terrible for all the execs, because he is like the breadwinner.
Oh, he's gone,
the
man.
big bacon boy. Yeah, I know he's gone, but he hasn't officially.
No, he's God. He's like a godlike filmmaker.
Yeah,
you know.
But he's leaving too. I mean, like, he's made that pretty abundantly clear over the past months, or at least he's planning if they don't start correcting the ship in his direction. I think. Either that or he's playing hardball with them. Who knows? But if he leaves, then that might be a good victory for Zach getting his job back, and other people losing their jobs. Which
And it
always
also
sucks.
could make the Ray Fisher situation. They could square that up with new execs.
Yeah, that's another thing too, because
that's the thing that's screwed up too.
Yeah, he has a law thing with them going, right? So he can't even work for Warner Brothers if they wanted him to come back unless he drops his complaint, right? Type of thing.
Is he threatening legal action?
I thought he was. Was he not?
I thought he did legal action. He's talking to lawyers and everything. They're doing stuff.
So
Well, they hired a lawyer to do an investigation to see if there's any wrongdoing. And wow, who would have thought the person they hired and paid probably $100,000 to exonerated them? There was no wrongdoing. Okay, well, what are the results of the investigation? You don't need to worry about that. We don't need that. What are you doing? Nah. You don't get to see them.
I don't mean to interrupt, but I have to get going. It was nice talking to all you. Zod, thanks for having me on, though, man. I appreciate it.
Anytime, Ryan. You're off, dude. Come by anytime.
Hi, Ryan.
Thanks. Hi, Belle.
Snyder sucks, Ryan. Bye.
Bye, Ryan.
I'm still waiting for my careless whispers, Eddie. Okay.
Bye, Ryan.
Very
I'm
nice
waiting
to
for
meet
my
you.
careless whispers. You got the position and everything. I'm waiting for it to start blasting. I want to hear some smooth George Michael. All right.
I'll sing next time when you're on.
Okay. All right. Good night, guys.
All right, Ryan.
All right, bro.
I guess waking you up before you go. You want to hear some George Michael? That's all I know now.
I know that. That's what
Wait, you can sing, Eddie? You can sing. You hesitated.
Go on,
You
sing the George
hesitated?
Michael for us.
I'm
Come on,
not
you
gonna
pay.
sing. I'm not.
No, you don't have to.
We need to hear it, Eddie. We got to.
Come on.
Sorry. I'm not gonna, do it because of peer pressure. So I'm just.
Well, it's not peer
topic.
pressure. It's not peer pressure. It's a
Wait,
genuine.
you guys.
It's a genuine desire to hear you sing.
Look, I'll sing when a
Eddie,
Snyder
you send me like a
restored.
30-second clip to my DM of you singing. Bro.
When a Snyder restored, I'll sing.
You sent the 30-second clip. Just do it, bro. You guys, Eddie has a beautiful
When the
voice.
Snyder version restored, I'll sing.
He sounds like Frank Sinatra.
Yo, we're gonna keep to that word. We're gonna keep to that word, man.
Snyder versus
You
the Sword.
hesitated twice. So
I'm
you
talking
were
about the
like,
10
Well, song from the 2017 one is Pure Sentinel. Oh gosh, Eddie, chill.
Okay.
No, I will say that
As a person who used to enjoy the 2017 version back then, ever since the Zack Snyder Justice League came out, I wouldn't say that would consider cinema. Zack Snyder's Justice League is cinema.
I will say this. I have a stream next week set up. I will be defending that movie. That's all I'm gonna say.
I've seen it like 7 times.
I mean, I gotta be honest. I did.
It was like 7 times. Not in theaters. But I've seen it.
Justice?
Yeah, I've seen it 7 times.
I saw fan cuts, so I guess I've seen it a bunch too. I don't know.
Well, the fan cuts were interesting because there's a lot of variations of fan cuts of that movie.
Yeah,
where they tried really hard to put back a lot of Snyder's material. They were creative in what they tried to do, but the fan cuts, you can only try to polish a turd so much. A turd is still a turd, no matter what you do, and that's really the problem. You know, it's.
I had a question. Where do you guys find these fan cuts? Because I'm hearing that, and I'm like, when you say fan cut, are you actually talking about like a full length, like 2 hours?
Yeah, the whole movie.
Yeah, it's the whole movie.
No,
it's the full movie done in basically where a fan editor goes in and literally takes scenes from the movie that were not used and puts the scenes back and rearranges it, changes the music, changes different things to make it a more palatable experience.
But how do you
recuts
find
it?
They're only up
like
for a little
copyright.
while after they make them, and then they get pulled down, and you got to kind of know somebody that has them.
Yeah, because copyright.
ZodWriter.
I could send you some.
Exactly, ZodWriter. You know what's better than the polishing a turd? Remaking that said turd and making it better. For example, I actually just posted a scene, like I'm trying to screen share a scene to show an example.
Mm-hmm.
Can I?
How do you make it turn better?
Okay. Whoa. Before that,
so
peanuts and some corn, I guess. That's how you
Before
make it better.
Okay, Belle, go ahead.
God damn. Hey, I have to be on another stream in like a couple, like probably like 40 minutes.
What stream are you going on?
MSK's 10 o'clock.
Okay. All right. Well,
all right. So thank you for having me, Zod. I apologize. I kind of.
Oh no, you were great. You were funny.
It's okay.
You were great,
It was great for you to be here, Belle. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it makes sense because DC people cope all the time. So
sorry, I had to pull out my shield for that one. So
well, no problem. But see, there's the thing: you're jumping on MSK's stream. They trash DC all the time over there. So
I talked to him. I told him I'm not gonna freaking go on there. People are gonna fucking drag DC. I'm not about to get attacked by a bunch of MCU simps. So that's what I told him.
Well, I hope they understand that because hey, man, I went on there. I went on that stream. I went on the stream one time, and they do DC dirty over there. I'm just saying, they really do.
I love DC.
I'm not gonna read the comments.
But you're right. But you're right, Dots. They do trash MCU sometimes too. So it kind of balances out. But there are a lot of MCU simps over there, Belle. So just be careful.
Oh yeah, I know. I'm just gonna.
I'm just saying, you can say the same thing for DC.
You better not be over there, Eddie.
I will. I'm gonna troll you when you go over there.
Okay, hey, there's some trash ass DCEU movies, guys. I mean, come on.
That's true. Yes, there are.
Birds of Prey.
You know, like BB has
I feel like DC has
Shut
the
the
better
fuck up.
characters.
Oh,
They
Eddie,
have
no.
no direction, no vision.
All right, I love you guys. I gotta go.
All right, Belle. See you later.
They did have a vision. They did have a direction, but what they do, they intervened his direction and the vision that he had. Okay,
Well,
just
they don't have it
FYI.
anymore, unfortunately.
Yeah, you're right. They don't. So yeah, see you guys later.
Yeah,
See you,
Belle.
Belle.
I'm gonna have to bounce too soon.
Mikey's got to come up with a.
What, Koj? You got another stream too?
Yeah,
No.
you're gonna
The
go
next
back
stream
to
I got
Marvelize
is
somewhere
on
else.
ZodWriter. That's a beat, man.
No, next stream I gotta do is in the toilet, but then I have other stuff I gotta do, man. It's getting
All right,
cold.
Koj. Well, I guess I'll go and I guess I'll get final thoughts, and I guess we'll kind of wrap it up since everybody's leaving. So I want to I don't want to get the stream down to like only a couple people, and then that's it. So I guess we'll end it. It's been a very, very eventful stream, I will say.
Yeah.
I appreciate everybody who's been here tonight. Special thanks to Ashley, for being on as long as you were. Thanks, Prime, for jumping on for a little bit. Everybody who contributed, this has been fun. Dots, awesome, man. You're always welcome, bro. Good to see you here.
Yeah, man. Good to meet you.
Just know,
Yeah,
I
nice
seen
to meet
you
you.
before. I seen you before that. I remember you. I recognize you. I seen you.
Firewater.
Eddie was
really-
here. Ash was here. And I was like, no.
Hello.
Pop up.
Yeah, well, Ashley, like I said, is always welcome. I wish she didn't leave, because the whole reason for this stream was because we were debating Marvel and DCEU movies. So I really, but they're gonna. I'm pretty sure they'll be over at on
We did a good job of that tonight, all
MGK.
things considered,
So
I think.
MSK, MGK. What is it? MGK, MSK,
MSK, Master
MSK,
Swag.
MSK, Master
Hey,
Swag.
Bob, look,
Yeah.
in all fairness, hey man, you came at the wrong time. Look, hey, I love me my DC. Catwoman's my favorite movie, man.
Really? Was that a joke?
I'm joking.
I should jump on that. I should jump on that stream too, that MSK stream later. Since everybody seems to want to port over there, I might jump over there too if I can. But
I gotta take my dogs out.
but yeah, Koj got to go. So, all right, man. Thank you everybody for tuning in. This was really, really eventful. I'm not gonna do closing arguments like a court case on this show tonight. We'll be back next week. We're gonna do more. I don't know what the main topic is gonna be next week, but we'll see what's going on. Thank you everybody for being here. Thank you for everybody for watching. I love you all. Good night, and peace be with everyone. Good night, everybody.
All right. Bye,
Thank
Zod.
you. Thank you so much for
Thank
having
you,
me.
Zod.
Smash right there. Smash